Hello.
Hello?
Hello. What's up, bro?
Hey, this is the What's Up Bro podcast. We talk about movies, TV, geek stuff, news, pop culture, and it's funny, motherfucker! With Nary Signs, you know the question is not on here that I could have said yes to would have been a cock ring. I'm like, oh, I've done that. Jeff.
It was called Bibbidi Bobbidi Doorknob.
Stephanie.
The only reason he was invited was because he was dating my friend. It was like a pity invite. And he was like one of the first people to get there. What a loser.
And we have Missy.
Yes, I'm here.
Is also here.
Missy is also here. A girl has no last name.
Not anymore, am I right? Huh? And special correspondence with Steph Mayer Sr.
Yeah, I don't have to look cute for you.
And this is the What's Up Bro podcast. That's how winning is done.
Hey, I'm Dave Chappelle, and this is What's Up, Bro.
He punched through it and his hand turned into a claw.
And you decide that you don't like your penance. Does he eat your face?
Frankie Mermaid, that video I sent, actually is confessing, and the pastor gets pissed because he finds out that Frankie Mermaid killed his parents. Mm-hmm. And so his arm turns into a dinosaur's arm. He breaks through the confessional and slices his throat.
Lovely.
So yes.
Still more believable than Adam Driver being married.
Yeah.
To Scarlett Johansson?
Still more believable than
like
Cat. Still a better movie than Cat.
They're like, oh, he goes to China, and you see him just walking through a forest, and then it says, China. And then the first thing he looks at a compass, he goes, man, China really is to the east.
I bet you that the same production, the production crew was the same one as on Cat.
I'm sure.
And that's Velociraptor. So thank you for checking us out. Welcome to part 2 of 2000 top 10 movies of 2019, presented by WuBro.
Someone sponsor us, please.
Yeah.
Velocipastor.
Yeah. So we've been recording, and the listeners like, what the fuck did I stumble on? Like, we were just mid-sentence. I just pressed record. They had no idea I was recording. But welcome to the What's Up Bro podcast. This is our second half, our conclusion to 2019. So our annual, 8th annual, Vanessa looked it up. 8th annual What's Up Bro top 10 movies of the year episode. This is the conclusion to that. Our 5 through 1s, I guess. Mm-hmm. I am Nary Signs. With me, as usual, is Stephanie.
Hello.
And Missy.
Hey.
And Jeffrey.
Hola.
And so thank you guys for coming back. We hope that you have listened to the previous episode where we talked about our 10 through 6 picks. I hope that you guys maybe heard about a movie that you hadn't heard about before. Maybe you checked it out by now. We are now going to discuss our top 5. So make sure you guys... God, I get so many retweets. Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Why didn't you tell the people why you're getting retweeted?
Well, by the time this come out, it's going to be a few weeks ago.
But who retweeted you that you're getting so many likes?
Alyssa Milano retweeted me, so we're basically
your
having
girlfriend.
an affair. Yeah,
Alyssa.
we're basically having an affair. It's pretty illicit because she retweeted and liked my tweet, and it's gotten so much attention. And it's literally just a stupid little. It's a cute video, but it's what I mean by stupid, I mean silly. It's a silly video of a little toddler finding and playing with a baby fawn, baby deer.
I know, I saw it.
And that's all it is.
I guess my like.
And I go, this is adorable. And I added Alyssa Milano. I was like, at Alyssa Milano, have you seen this? This is amazing. And that's all I put.
But didn't you do that with the purpose of like this outcome?
No, I said that to be funny, but in reality, when I saw the video, the first person I thought of on Twitter was Alyssa Milano. Like I really did, because she posts these cute videos. And
I wonder, of all the people that I know personally,
future historians will look back at this tweet and say this is where it started.
That's where it started. And wouldn't it be, because you know who discovered George Lopez was Sandra Bullock.
Yeah.
So wouldn't it be great if it was like, hey, Nary Signs was discovered by Alyssa Milano? Like she retweeted him and then started following him and it became a thing. And that was before they got married. It was a whole thing. It was just,
she bewitched you.
Oh my God!
On your Eat Your Hollywood story.
I would love to be charmed by her.
Oh, wow!
High five! All right.
I would just like to let you guys know he just high fived himself.
And then I got high fived by Missy. But yeah, I high fived myself because I was like, that's too good. I don't care if nobody else likes it. That's amazing. All right. Anyways, like an embrace from a vampire. So, all right, we're gonna go through our picks now. As you heard, we like some wide variety of shit. We ended just to give you our picks from 10 through 6. We had Booksmart, Chasing Happiness, Rise of Skywalker, Always Be My Maybe, Knives Out, Late Night, Alita, Battle Angel, Dolomite Is My Name, Untouchable, the documentary, Marriage Story, Glass, Long Shot, Ready or Not, Highwayman, Avengers Endgame, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and we ended the number 6s with the Fail Popes. Fail, like ugly, like F-E-O, Fail Popes. That was an autocorrect for the listener. That's an autocorrect. I'm not disagreeing with Siri because they're not very attractive popes, but that's not
Have you
what the
mentioned
name.
the actual name of
The name of the I was gonna say the actual name of the movie is The Two Popes.
So you could see how it autocorrect just switched it.
I was like, you mean fail? I'm like, no, I don't not mean fail.
Tomato.
Sure.
So all right, so now on to our number five, Missy, number 5.
My number 5 is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Once upon.
Mine was 6, so
Huh?
I had it at 6, so
Go ahead, talk about it.
Okay.
we can talk about
That's it? Nobody else had it?
Nope.
Okay. I really like this movie. I think that, to be fair, I haven't watched Tarantino's entire catalog.
You've watched not many.
Yeah.
There's 9 movies and she's watched 3.
4, including this one. So I'm 4.
Almost halfway.
Almost.
So
I like the fact that she went from I haven't watched his entire library to like I've barely watched any. But this is
it's almost half.
I was at a third up until this movie.
If he makes a 10th movie and I watch a 5th one, I'll be half. I've watched half his catalog.
Right.
Anyway, I
But
really
you haven't seen any of the like great ones.
No, she saw Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I've seen Pulp Fiction and I've seen Kill Bill,
And
both of them,
Django.
and Django.
That's
and
it. That's the top 3. You're good.
it doesn't. The rest of it doesn't matter.
No, I mean the rest of them are really good, but those are really the top.
Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah, I get.
So Once Upon a Time was a good movie for. So I don't know where to start. I have had an issue with. Well, okay. So Tarantino, I don't know where to start.
I've not said a
Jesus.
complete
So-
sentence.
Karen,
fucking-
get your shit together and make a fucking statement.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're
None
right,
of those
you're
have
right.
been complete sentences.
Yeah.
know when you're ready.
One thing that I really enjoyed about Once Upon a Time, I think Margot Robbie was fucking sensational
As Sharon Tate.
as Sharon Tate. I was really nervous throughout the entire movie because I thought
That they were going to portray what actually happened in
what actually happened.
Yeah, exactly.
We're spoiling.
I mean, I guess
It's based on a real. It's based on
the
a
real story.
Like,
Like,
correct.
people know how that ends.
No,
we're not actually.
but-
We're not. It's not based on.
Like it actually.
But these are actual events that happened. But what we see in the,
The movie has
Right.
a twist.
he changed
Correct.
history.
Correct.
Much like you did with Inglourious Bastards.
Right.
So I was really enjoying the movie. Leo killed it
I
in
think-
this
Love him so
fucking
much.
movie.
Yeah.
He killed it so. And the little girl, I don't know her name, but she's also in the show called American Housewife.
Yes.
And I used to watch it a long time ago, but she was awesome. She's like the spunky daughter or whatever in the show, but in this movie, she's like a ball buster, which relatable. And I was really nervous watching this movie because knowing Tarantino's style from I was anticipating him to stick to the letter of history, and I was gonna see some fucked up shit.
Yeah.
And then
I thought so too.
And the twist was like, and I was still happy with it. Like, I guess the anticipation built up, and sometimes when that happens in movies and you get a twist, you're like, oh man, I was really hoping for that. But the twist was worked for itself as well.
Yeah.
I don't think I haven't watched a lot of Brad Pitt movies recently. I don't think
He was fucking.
he was fucking great in this movie, but I
Brad
think
Pitt's great in everything.
Even though-
Yeah, I know, but
Like, he legitimately does not have a movie where you go. That's bad. Like even though like you can
Did you see Ad Astra?
I did not see
Okay,
Ad Astra,
so then-
but his performance in Ad Astra, like I'm not talking about no movie. I'm talking about his performances. He's the opposite of Keanu Reeves. He's a great actor in
bad
everything
movies.
that's not maybe a great movie, but he's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like I don't remember a bad. Even like I know a friend of mine picks on his scenes. Like he always has a one scene where he goes kind of like kooky, and he picked on like for example, Interview with a Vampire, where he was like,
fucking love that movie.
but he's talking about that one scene where my friend says that he hams it up one scene in every movie. There's one one
Okay.
scene where Brad Pitt hams
goes
it up,
over the top.
and he's like, "Your master is the devil," and I get my friend is over exaggerating the hamness, but I was like, yeah, I could kind of see that. Whatever. Like, there's one scene in every movie.
I'm trying to think of Once Upon a Time in Mexico where was a scene where he hammed it up. He played that.
You mean in Hollywood?
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Because Once Upon a Time in Mexico is an actual movie. Like that's an
You did
actual.
say that.
Sorry, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
No. I'm saying he didn't. I'm not.
No,
I'm
he
just
was.
saying.
Yeah.
He was pretty.
He was great.
But he's great in
He
everything. Is
kept
what I'm
it
saying.
that level that character was meant to be at.
Yeah, when he
Even with the twist,
Yeah.
he's still.
But there's the other thing that I like about this movie, which I typically like about in general when movies do this, is that if it's a time period movie, that you kind of get a wide scope of the time it's period itself. The scene where he goes out to the compound and that entire interaction was.
Can I just tell you, I was on pins and needles that whole fucking.
Yes.
Yeah, I
I
was
was
too.
like, oh, something's bad's gonna
Yeah,
happen.
yeah.
Something's
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah,
fucking
yeah, yeah.
Family,
I
you're
agree.
like,
I really enjoy when directors like stress you out like that,
Yeah.
only to like not yet. And Tarantino kind of teases you a lot during.
He's a
the-
master of suspense. Man.
He
That
is.
guy can
Yeah,
really-
yeah.
It's the blue balls. Like, you're
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
Oh wait, here. No, okay.
Yeah, I was waiting for the other shoe to drop during the entire scene.
Yeah, I was like, oh,
Wait,
the
you
old
saw
man's
it?
gonna be
Yeah.
dead.
Oh,
I'm like,
okay.
oh,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
old man's gonna be dead. There's gonna be some
Yeah,
shit. They're
I
gonna
was
come at
waiting for him to go into
yeah.
that old man to be like covered in flies or some shit like that.
And then look behind you, and they're gonna fuck
Yeah,
the Manson
yeah, yeah.
family's gonna kill you.
Dakota
Yeah.
Fanning, as you know, the housekeeper, I guess, would be the easiest way to name her. She was pretty creepy in
all of them were
in
pretty.
the
There
scene.
were several.
Was that Dakota Fanning?
That was Dakota Fanning. There were several actresses that are like pretty famous to like really famous that played like the different members of the Manson family, and they were there for like 4 seconds.
I know there was one that I wish would have gotten killed by Brad Pitt's character.
Lena Dunham.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's the 2 minutes that she's in the movie. But she's
I
not
thought
awful.
you would have said. I thought you would have said.
I hate Lena Dunham.
Was it Quentin? Not Quentin. What am I fucking? Harley.
Harley
Smith.
Quinn Smith?
Harley Smith. Yeah.
No,
No?
I like her.
She's fine.
No, but
I don't dislike her. I
Like,
just thought that-
Rumor Willis was in that scene too. There were a couple of
no,
people.
I hate Lena Dunham. Like, I
Yeah,
don't
Lena
like
All
her.
right, no, I'm
I
with
think
you.
she's
I'm not. You don't have to sell me on the idea,
So-
but if I'm in, I'm in.
So
I bought stock in that long time ago.
Yeah.
But it I could appreciate, especially being a true crime like super nerd. I liked where he took it because it wasn't, because I feel like if it would have gone the way it would have gone, I wouldn't have liked the movie as much.
So I watched that movie.
disagree entirely.
So I watched that movie. Yeah, I know. She's the stickler for historical accuracy.
But you like
Well,
Inglourious
no,
Bastards.
because I liked Inglourious Bastards and I liked what they did in Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah, but every other movie, you're like, that's not
Yeah.
the way it happened.
She just wants all the blondes to be killed. So
I
she's
feel
like,
That's
like-
not the way Freddie Mercury did this. Like, that's your fucking thing.
I feel like the
didn't hear
reason.
it?
No.
which
I go. The reason she doesn't like it is because she wants all the blondes killed on the earth, so she's the only one.
Oh yeah.
Are you a blonde? Oh. I can literally see your roots
Yeah,
from
you
here.
can.
So
It's really bad.
Oh shit!
Whatever.
get me out of here! I'm in the corner.
Remember the last episode? Danger, Will Robinson.
Danger!
I don't care.
Put the knife down.
But I
Steve.
will
Not
say,
saying anything that's not true.
yeah.
I mean,
So then but this is what happened. So I'm watching the movie and I watch it by myself. As far as I went by myself, there was other people in the theater, but didn't go with anybody. So when I saw the movie, and afterwards, I was like because I'm trained by Marvel. Like you stay throughout
Right.
all the credits. Like I don't want any. I'm like so I stay throughout the credits, and it was literally me and 2 elderly ladies leaving the movie theater. We were the last ones out of the movie theater, and I said, "Huh? He changed. I guess he changed history, huh? He rewrote history," is what I said. And this old lady goes, "Yeah," like she was very like taken aback. She's like, "Yeah, but how do you know? You weren't around back then." And I go,
Sharon Tate is dead, ma'am.
and I was like,
Because the internet, Maria.
yeah, well, here's the thing. Instead of saying any of that, instead of saying, well, I looked it up or I know the story of Sharon Tate, whatever, instead of saying any of that factual and,
Lord.
I said, oh, that's very kind of you, but I'm 67 years old. And she said, no. She was one of those, like, she didn't believe me, but she wanted to believe me. She's like, no. And I go, I appreciate you so much. I wish my wife, bless her soul. I said, bless her soul. I was like, I wish she would be around and hear you say these wonderful things.
God rest
and she literally was like, "You remember?" I was like, "I remember what? I remember when I heard about that. Oh, that she was so wonderful. I loved her so much." And I said, "I was young. Don't get me wrong. I was young when that happened, but I remember my parents talking about it. And I was like, this whole fucking. I made this whole laugh. It was on the spot, and then she was like, they're like, and they kind of, and I left, and and they were just talking to each other. I left them talking to each other about it. Like, I don't like.
That would have been great. You know what? Thank you. I'm gonna call my child that's at college right now.
And that's why you go to the movies with Neri.
Yeah.
Okay, so what? So why didn't you like the ending?
So I think I was okay with like a history-changing ending in *Inglourious Bastards* because the
Because it was Hitler.
Yeah, the Nazis are literally like the supervillains of history. So like, I think we're okay with them.
Manson was like, "Hold my beer." So
like,
hold on.
We're okay. Yeah, but Manson, even though he killed a lot of people, he didn't kill 6 million people.
He didn't kill anybody.
He didn't kill anybody.
Right.
His disciples killed people.
Well, I mean, same.
Oh my
because,
God,
like,
that was so
Hitler.
creepy.
They didn't-
Most
Watching
of
that?
Hitler's people did,
Right.
whatever. So,
But you're saying so all that matters is numbers. You don't matter. It doesn't matter evilness.
She wants body count.
Yeah, she wants body count.
no, yeah, I would stack them up.
She was pregnant, lady.
I understand.
She killed a pregnant. They stabbed her
I
fucking
get it.
belly.
I'm not saying that
Did
he's.
you know their history?
I do.
Okay.
I'm not saying that.
Neri was there. Let him educate you.
I'm not saying
Oh,
that.
bless
he's
your
not-
soul.
Impressionable lad.
I'm not saying that Manson's not a sick bastard.
Right.
I'm just saying that like
He was He was cute though.
he.
Does it change your mind that
What? He was-
That's the shit that you said about Aaron Hernandez. You're like, I'm kind of conflicted because he was hot. I was like,
not his type?
Trust me when I tell you this. You should not be saying that because
No.
this motherfucker is crazy.
It's wrong for me to be like, man, he's hot because he's a piece of shit. That's why I don't
Yeah.
want to watch it because I don't want to be like
Ted Bundy was hot,
He's
too.
horrible, but goddamn, he was hot. Like I don't want to have that.
Watch the
Zach
Despicable-
Efron.
I was gonna watch it and then
because
somebody
Jim
told me
Norton makes
not
fun
to.
of people exactly like you about saying that Ted Bundy's hot.
He is
They're like,
hot.
yeah, he's hot in that range. The joke, I'm gonna kill it, but the joke is like he's hot in that range of the people that killed 40 and raped 40 plus women.
Yeah.
He's a 9 there, but
Yeah.
in reality he's like a 5.
Right. No. I mean, just based on looks alone, Ted Bundy. I mean, I know he's a fucking psychopath, but like based on looks alone. But my point is that the Nazis are like super villains of history.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I think it was okay with that for whatever.
I really think
I
think
feel like
Manson is
he's a
also a super villain. I really do
Yeah.
think he's a super villain.
He is.
You're
They
making
didn't kill Manson. And then I liked. I
you
want to
going
say
with
like
this?
Yeah,
75% of this movie I really liked. I really enjoyed.
That's a big percentage that you didn't like.
That's a C.
Yeah.
That's a lower percentage than movies she's seen of Quentin Tarantino.
I really
Correct.
liked. I loved the whole story with I can't remember the character names, but with Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad
Right.
Pitt. I love that. I liked where they were, what they did.
This motherfucker tricked me so much. I literally Googled the stuntman, like if it was a real fucking, like I thought it was a real
Yeah.
actor.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, I'm an idiot.
It's based on a couple of like.
Fight Bruce Lee? What
Yeah,
the
no, I was really not the stuntman, the actor, that guy that Leo portrayed.
Oh, yeah,
that
yeah.
I Googled him.
Rick something.
Yeah, well, forget that. Again, I saw this months ago when it came out in theaters. But I
saw it
I
3 weeks
Googled
ago,
him
and I don't
because there were real life.
They're based on like several real life people, like
Right.
Steve McQueen and his stunt guy, and Burt Reynolds and his stunt guy. Like the relationship between them was like based on like several different relationships.
Rick Dalton.
Ese
Yeah.
mismo. But
What's your problem?
first of all, I don't know that they glorify. Well, yeah, they did kind of like. They've
if
slightly glorified Roman Polanski, and I was not. Okay, I'm not here for that.
I will say this.
in context of the time before anybody knew anything. Like, fine,
They did not, for what it's worth, not defending Roman Polanski and what he did later on in life, or what he was later on convicted of.
That's why he
That's the
can't
word I'm
live
looking
here.
for. I was looking for convicted. Relax. All right. So I'm not to glorify, not to lessen that, but when that happened, when the events that took place in this movie happened in real life, that was him.
Oh, I know.
So
Like,
this is not glorifying him.
But it's
That's
not
just
even- 'cause
portraying
the thing is,
him.
The scenes you see him, it's her gushing over him.
Right,
She's
and I get
gushing
it.
over her husband.
And I get it, but I think
And if you read what he said, because I was there, if you read what he said,
Right.
when she died, it was beautiful. When she says, like he was like one of these things where he got upset because everybody in the country was mourning over her because she was so physically beautiful, and that, you know what I mean, it's kind of like one of those things where it's like she's so beautiful that shouldn't happen to somebody like this. And he got upset, and he said, everybody always talks about how beautiful she was physically, but nobody talks about how beautiful she was. She was far more beautiful inside than she was. Like, what the words that he said about her after she passed are beautiful words.
Right.
Granted, not taken away from the fact that he's a disgusting fucker.
Yeah.
Or he later on became a disgusting fucker. I don't know which is which. I don't know which, if he was disgusting. Who knows? It was splitting disgusting hairs.
Right.
But I don't think they glorified him.
I don't know. I get that she was married to him, and I know that they were like whatever, and I know what happened, but like it bothered me with him like being there and like.
So would you rather?
But I get that that's me, and that's an irrational thing to be mad.
But here's my question to you.
I get that.
Here's my question to you. Since they're rewriting history, did you wish that they would have rewritten him out of history?
I mean, you might as well.
That's worse, way worse.
Fine, but I would have rather not seen him. Like, if you want to allude to the fact that
I don't want a stupid face.
Don't delete him from the movie. Just I don't want to see him.
If you want to allude to the fact, like everybody knows that you're married to Roman Polanski, you want to talk about him all the time, whatever. But I don't know
not
that
all of us were there.
I don't need an actor playing him and whatever. But I understand that is my irrational
I'm sure
thing.
a bunch of people don't want to see Hitler on screen.
Yeah, no, but she's like,
I was just gonna say,
I'm totally fine with an actor portraying Hitler on screen, but
Like-
don't portray Roman Polanski.
Charles Manson's cameo is, well, he wasn't a supervillain, so I'm fine with it.
I couldn't say that Charles Manson wasn't
not
a
to mention,
supervillain.
not to mention that if we're going based off of like the time period, at the time Roman Polanski was not a piece of shit, but Charles Manson was.
No, I know that those are all rational arguments. Like I said, I know that that's my like bail with this. Like,
All right, so
I
then,
get that.
the pale popes.
But-
So that's the 25% is just Roman Polanski.
Roman Polanski, and then like I understand what the point of not killing her is. I understand that.
Spoiler alert, guys! Since we were dodging that up until this point,
we said but we said that he changed history.
He changed history,
and if you
right?
know
but
what
we didn't
happened to her.
specify what.
Well, sorry.
Stephanie like, I'm all about fucking pregnant women deaths. That's all I'm all about. I want to see that shit.
I'm not, but considering but that's what happened. I don't know that I didn't need him to like walk into. I've seen those pictures of that murder. It's awful.
Yeah.
So I don't need to see that on film, but I
thought I was gonna see
did too.
I thought I was gonna see a Tarantino version of that, which would have been so much more blood. And I was like, oh
With
no,
a sick bass drum.
oh my, yes, bro. And I was like, oh no, dude, so something's gonna.
That's why I was super stressed out, because I knew that we were building to that moment. So the twist, which is what I was referring to earlier, which Stephanie just said, is that she lives, is that it was like, oh, okay, but then I don't know. I think we talked about it. Me and Neri talked about it, where Tarantino's like notorious for giving you violence, like gory, disgusting.
this is the least violent.
Not according to Dave.
I actually
What?
No, I said that to Dave. I said, yeah. I go, it's very unlike every Tarantino movie. He goes, how so? And I said, well, it doesn't have any time jumps. There's no time.
Yeah.
And he goes, not every Tarantino movie has time jumps. I'm like, literally every other Tarantino movie has time jumps. Like, I don't know. He plays with time in his movies.
Yeah.
And then I said, except one. There was one other one. I forgot which one it was. And then I said,
I don't think he does it in Django.
Django doesn't. No.
What do you mean? No, he there's maybe Django.
Django
There's
does it.
flashbacks, but not.
There's two.
But there are flashbacks in Django. It still does something with time. Like there's no time anything.
Right, but it doesn't. In the classic Tarantino giant time jump is like where it starts in the end and then it kind of circles back around. Yeah, that doesn't.
So and then I said, and it's not ultra violent. And then he was like, I don't think as Tarantino is ultra violent. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, buddy. Like, I don't like.
Well,
remember, you were in that chat. You were in that Jeff was in that conversation too. He was in the chat, and I was like, I don't. But he was legitimately like, I'm like, he's ultra violent and
everything.
And so what I
also
his point of view is that he thinks if the movie's not violent the entire way through, then it's not ultra violent. And I'm like, but if you have, he goes, oh, like Reservoir Dogs, which Missy hasn't seen. There's only two scenes that are ultra violent, but those two scenes are ultra violent.
And time jumps.
Yeah.
I think that was like what made that's the cliche Tarantino like end to beginning thing. Like it's from.
But you see,
Reservoir Dogs.
let me tell you. So in what you were talking about, I was thinking about it now. I would have preferred them not rewrite, because in Inglourious Bastards, you already know, okay, so apparently Hitler's going to be at this show.
Right.
Apparently this is going to happen. the one in this comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, it does. No, it does.
Which to me
I was waiting
even
for
more-
it because
but-
I was waiting for them to like go
Right.
from Leo's house
So
to go
me,
right next door.
That,
Like
that makes it even better for me because the other one, okay, you're like, okay, I'm in this world where they're rewriting the Nazis. They're, you know, we know that Aldo Raines didn't exist. We know that all this is fake.
After I googled it,
Right. In this,
You
in
weren't
this
there for that one?
The backdrop of World War II obviously is accurate, but in this one, the only two people that are kind of really not two people but fake are Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt. Everyone else, for the most
Yeah.
part, are
Yeah,
real
they're
people
real
that
people.
were in that
Yeah,
world. So it's two fake people that are being, because even Manson's followers were real people. They were real, you know.
those are all real people.
Oh my god, that scene of them in the car, like getting ready to out, that was so creepy.
Yeah.
And they did a good job. So kudos to them for creeping the shit out of me. But that was so creepy. And yeah.
Sharon Tate's sister, that's still alive, was like not a fan of this because she said it was like disrespectful to the memory because like the whole.
I thought. I mean, she's right to think however she feels because it's her family.
Right.
But I think she's wrong.
Right, but her thing with it is that
Like, how dare you not show my sister be massacred? Like, what the fuck
think-
do you sicko?
No, but if I'm understanding her correctly, I think it's like and I don't want to put it in these terms, but there's really like no other way to say it. It's like the whole like white male savior thing. It's like my fairy tale is telling the story of how I saved Sharon Tate,
Or of how I wish Sharon Tate wasn't massacred.
right. So
How dare you?
Well, wait, where's the white savior for her?
Brad Pitt.
no, Quentin Tarantino.
You're saying that Tarantino.
Oh, because I
But
was
that's,
like,
I
no.
just think, why is that a wrong thing? You're literally saying like I wished Sharon Tate hadn't been massacred.
Like, let her be.
Oh no! Like we don't need you to fucking say yes.
Yeah,
don't you wish we would have?
It ends in a very like what could have been like
Right, but then I was at the end of it, and I was like, so what happens now? Like, what happens
Oh,
when
so
she
you-
finds out that Roman Polanski's a piece
So
of shit?
now you,
like, what
so
happens?
you didn't like 25% of it. You didn't like because you wanted more.
Yeah, I was.
Jesus Christ!
And also,
But whatever.
she wanted. Her
This
to
is how
die
long-
so that she wouldn't know Roman Polanski was a piece of shit.
This is how long this movie was. I got up to pee at the beginning of the Bruce Lee and Brad Pitt scene. I came back; they were still fucking.
That's
They
the thing.
They haven't even started fighting yet,
Bruce
but
Lee's
she wanted
family-
more.
Bruce Lee's family complained too.
Yeah, they did.
said that
Yeah.
he was portrayed as an asshole.
Listen,
But he would no.
there's
Actually,
a
I
complaint
don't.
for every fart that
I never
that
saw.
gets out.
When I saw this movie, I didn't see Bruce Lee as an asshole. I saw Bruce Lee as arrogant, and I'm sorry to tell you,
He was.
Bruce Lee was uber arrogant. But here's the thing: as a fucking massive fan of Bruce Lee, I literally follow his Instagram. Which, by the way, it's a certified Instagram. Like he's dead. I don't know.
I
how
was
that's
gonna
I was gonna say, when
But
was the last
it's-
update?
But his actual no,
Hey.
he posts
probably
so
the-
many
the
posts.
estate.
Yeah, it's his daughter. It's literally his daughter running it. And he posts every fucking day. She posts something. But with that, I'm a huge fan of Bruce Lee.
That
He
guy was great,
very
though.
fucking arrogant and very much deservingly so.
Yeah.
It's like when somebody goes, "Yeah, Michael Jordan's arrogant because he's the fucking best."
Yeah.
Like there are very few people. I was having this conversation yesterday with a friend of mine. There are very few people on this planet who you can say who can very definitively say, "I am the best at XYZ." Like to be the best at something on earth, like it's very rare. Like you could say Bruce Lee was the best martial artist for his lifetime. Like that's a big fucking. And I would be super fucking. People are like, yeah, I'm not gonna be humble. I would be super fucking cocky.
Yeah.
Like there's
Yeah.
a thing. I would be LeBron James and Michael
He
Jordan
even
wrapped in one.
he's verified on IG and he's dead. I mean, come on.
No, that being said, I really, really enjoyed like the period, like the way that the production design of this movie was fucking
loved it.
amazing.
I want to watch it again because I watched it with expecting a quote Tarantino movie.
Right.
And when I didn't get it, not that I was disappointed, but I was like, oh,
I should have paid attention.
I should have been paying more. Like I should have. I was like, wait for it.
Right.
Oh, it didn't really happen. Holy shit!
Yeah.
And so that's what I was.
The production design of this movie was fantastic. I love like
The sound editing
50
is fucking superb.
but I love like that mid-century like vibe and like the late 60s in LA with like that whole like going into the disco era like party like
I love
was
DiCaprio killed it, man.
I
He
love
was so
him. I've
fucking-
always loved him. He's my first like crush. But
No, but I'm talking about acting wise, superb acting. Like,
yeah,
he outdid DiCaprio. Like I've always thought DiCaprio was a really good actor.
Yeah.
yeah.
But in this movie, the way he played that actor who's unsure of himself, who's
insecure,
his insecurities, but then he has to show bravado in front of other people because he has to play the part of somebody who was a badass, who was once a badass, and I just love that fucking Pacino.
Pacino's cameo was awesome.
So great.
And when they put him in, when they do the Steve McQueen Great Escape, that they put him in it.
Yeah.
Steve McQueen.
Yeah.
I've never seen Great Escape. Dave loves that movie, but I've never seen
Shocker.
it. So I was watching it. I'm like, is this actual like footage from the movie? And he was like, yeah, this is. He's like, this is brilliant. Like, Dave loved this movie for what it's worth.
I also liked. So they, I don't know. I don't want to say fourth. Well, maybe they kind of broke fourth wall a little bit when you were watching Rick Dalton do his scenes. I don't know if you guys had the same experience where he had they had cut for the scene and then they start over again and they kind of just let you watch him perform.
Yeah.
So it's like a movie within a movie, and I like that too.
Yeah, that was cool. That was a cool
It was
shot.
very impressive and very kind of.
If I'm not mistaken, it was all one shot.
Huh?
If I'm not mistaken, it was a track shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, Timothy Olyphant is so fantastic in everything he does. I love him so much.
And rest in peace, Luke Perry. He was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was Luke Perry's last role.
So
That was a good one.
my number 5, guys.
That was the length of the last episode.
29 minutes, guys. We're 29 minutes. We got.
Are we really 29?
Yeah,
That's
we
29
talked a lot
minutes.
about that one.
Yeah.
All right,
Well, it was a
Steph.
good movie.
But in all fairness, we also talked about rap.
Pastor for 10 minutes. You're right. So it really was only 19.
All right, so Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is Mrs. number 5.
Yep.
My number
Stephanie.
5 is Dr. Sleep. Dr. Sleep is the sequel to The Shining.
I never got
This movie was fucking amazing, guys.
I've never seen The Shining, so I didn't want to see this one.
I don't think you have to watch. That's one of the things I liked about it, is that if you've never seen The Shining, this gives you enough background on what happened in the events of The Shining that I think you would be okay.
Oh, I know what happened. That's one of the things
It's like Olaf.
So Dave.
Same but different.
Did anybody else watch this? Am I the only one that saw it?
I haven't seen it.
I didn't see it.
I'm waiting for you guys to buy it.
Yeah, same.
Okay. I thought it was out already for some reason, but
Dave said it's like next week.
oh, okay.
He's waiting for it.
I really love Ewan McGregor, first of all. But
hello there.
side note, like Ewan McGregor not having an accent is kind of a waste, but whatever. But it was so good, and it had so many. It was original enough and told the original story. And again, these movies are based on books, so it is what it is. It was original enough and it was an independent story, but it was so connected to The Shining. And then like there's I don't want to say too much because none of you have seen it and I don't want to ruin it for you. But it's really fucking great. It's Danny in his 40s, and he
Danny's the kid from The Shining?
the kid from The Shining.
Right.
So it's him, and he's been fucked up his whole life because of the events that happened in The Shining.
What happened to him?
And he meets another little girl that has The Shining, and it's like his
You
relation.
mean The Shining?
The Shining, yeah.
The Shining.
And
Tomato.
and it's like that whole relationship, and there's like a cult aspect to it that I didn't expect.
Okay.
Super
like
super,
cult, like Scientology cult.
I mean,
like
not
Colt 45 that Martin Luther.
I thought like a cult following. I don't know.
no, but
I think I'm hungry, guys.
cult in the sense of like
the good guys from Once Upon a Time in
right,
Hollywood.
exactly.
Dumbass. I'm fine with Manson's camp. I just hate Polanski.
I didn't say I was fine with Manson's cab. You're so full of
Why
shit.
did they have to die?
Why did they have to die? Why did you have to? They're people too.
Yeah, that was not nice that the dog ate her
Wow,
face.
guys. I loved that shit. Stop. I loved that.
No, but I really want to see Dr.
I was
Sleep.
so worried the dog was gonna get shot.
I know.
The whole
I was
time.
so stressed
I was
out.
like,
Don't kill the dog.
Kill Sharon.
Yeah.
Kill Sharon Tate. Don't take the
yeah, I swear to God. Yeah, I was
Jesus
like,
Christ.
What would have been historically accurate?
knife to belly. Knife to belly. I'd rather you kill the pregnant chick.
Oh my god. Fuck. Oh my god. Oh shit.
Just saying.
Man, whenever I meet Margot Robbie, it's gonna be really awkward.
Oh my god.
That was so good.
Kill the bitch, just don't kill the bitch. You know, like the dog is
Jesus Christ.
Too far.
Too far.
Anyway,
Too much.
That was one too many, sir.
Yeah, it was a male dog. It didn't make sense.
It's
I'm
like,
sorry.
hi, I'm Margot Robbie. Hi, I'm
Oh, that's why I was wrong.
Yeah, that's where I was wrong. It was just factually inaccurate.
It's like, hey, I'm Margot Robbie. Hi, I'm Steph. You should have died.
Okay, so go ahead.
Dr. Sleep.
Dr. Sleep.
Dr. Sleep.
There's a cult.
I don't really want to say anything else because I feel like I'm going to give things away, but it's really good.
Everybody split down the middle with this movie for me.
Really?
You either love it or hate it. People that I know, like you and Dave, love it, and other people that I know flat out said, there's not a more accurate name for the movie than Doctor Sleep. My friend said that he was fucking. He loves horror movies, and he's like, dude, this is the most boring piece of shit ever.
Horror in the same way that The Shining was horror. Is it's like psychological thriller. It's not like I mean, there is a haunting aspect to it, which is part of The Shining, but it's
Haunting
not
like ghosts?
yes. Yes, that's exactly what that means.
Yes, that's exactly.
That's exactly what haunting means.
Not like your memories, like actual ghosts.
Yeah.
Good.
Right, but I really loved it.
So what you're saying is if I'm going to watch it, it has to be in the daytime with the fucking window open.
I mean, maybe for you because you
Windows let the ghost in.
Curtains open?
I really enjoyed it, and I really recommend it.
I'm going to watch it. I'm just waiting for you guys to buy it. But yeah, I do intend to watch it.
I loved this movie.
So, Doctor Sleep.
That came out around Halloween, right?
Yeah, like in October, I want to say.
Jeffrey?
My number 5 is Dolomite Is My Name.
Yeah.
Let's get into it.
I have no idea what this movie's about.
It's about Dolomite. It's about the creation
Dolomite is
Dolomite.
And it's his name.
It's a blaxploitation movie that came out, but it's
a blaxploitation character because it's a series of movies that ended up being a series of movies.
It ended up being a series,
But this is a story of how the actor Rudy
Giuliani?
No,
not that guy.
I forget Rudy something. He apparently Dolomite within the black community was one of those how we the Hispanic community have fulanito or pepito or
That's
pepito or blah, blah, blah.
Right.
That's Dolomite for in the black community. And so what he did, he was a stand-up comedian. What he did was he decided to do like Larry the Cable Guy when
it's like a character.
It's a character. It's a character that he embodied.
He was unsuccessful. Well, at least as the movie portrays. Do you know more of his real story?
Yeah.
Was he unsuccessful?
Yeah, he was unsuccessful, but in multiple. So he was a singer.
Rudy Ray Moore.
So he was a singer that was unsuccessful, but he had albums out. He was a comedian who was unsuccessful. But this is the way Eddie Murphy puts it. He goes, Rudy was one of those guys that he willed himself to success. Like he didn't have the talent for a lot of things that he tried, but he wanted to be famous. All he wanted to do was be famous.
Yeah.
He's passed away since, but he wanted to do this movie. Eddie Murphy wanted to do this movie over 10 years ago when Rudy was still alive, and he approached him because I want to do a movie about your life. And
Eddie Murphy plays Rudy.
Yeah, okay. Eddie Murphy plays Rudy, and then Rudy would say, in Eddie Murphy's words, he's like, man, ain't nobody want to see that shit. Let's go on tour, you and me. Like, he just wanted to keep fucking the train going. Like, he just wanted, he's like, he didn't think that anybody would, because he wouldn't be playing himself in the movie, Eddie Murphy would be playing him. He was just like, I want to just be successful again. Like, I want to, let's go on tour, me and you. Yeah. And so he was unsuccessful as a musician, he was unsuccessful as a comedian, but then he got the idea when somebody when he would hear these Pepito jokes or he would hear these Dolomite jokes, he got the idea like, I'm gonna become that character on stage. So he became that character on stage, became uber famous.
Yeah,
within this is a time frame when they had what they call the chiclet circuit, where they would have the black circuit. So performers, comedians, and musicians were going.
What time period is it?
60s, 70s, yeah. So, musicians, there was still like a lot of segregation going on, but there was like, well, you're a great performer, so we're gonna have you come in and perform the black circuit. So you're gonna do these
it's
rooms.
very much like Green Book.
Very much in that time frame. That's what happened.
Yeah.
And so and then he decided that I'm gonna make a movie out of this character, and he like self-financed the movie because he then became successful doing Dolomite on stage.
He did records,
and he did Dolomite records, and he was one of the first ones to put like obscene, what would be considered obscene profanity on records.
Okay,
and his album covers were like him naked with like naked women on it.
Yeah. So it was one of those things where he knew this type of shit would sell.
The first album, it was
Bitch Better Have My Money or some shit. I don't remember.
That's Rihanna. But
Bitch Better Have My Money. Did you say that's Rihanna?
Yeah, that's her song.
You are aware that is from I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker.
No, I know. Don't.
Do you know?
I only know it as a Rihanna
But do you
song.
know the movie "I'm Gonna Get Your Sucker"?
Nope.
"I'm Gonna Get Your Sucker" was done by Keenan Ivory Wayans, and
Okay.
it's one of those.
seen I'm Gonna Get
Oh
Your
my god, it's one of those. It's like
He shot
Airplane.
my bunion.
It's like Airplane,
Yeah.
but in the vein of blaxploitation movies,
Yeah.
where
Got
they're
it.
mocking those movies, and he comes. There's a pimp who's like super famous. Is Superfly. It's the actual character, the actor that played Superfly, and he does a quote unquote poem where he was like, this poem is called "Bitch Better Have My Money."
Yeah.
So bitch better have my money, not some of my money. Not part of my money, but all my motherfucking cash. Like that's the whole thing. So Rihanna literally copied that, got it from there, right? And I'm sure. And then I like the fact that you're like, oh, that Rihanna song. I'm like,
That's all. The only thing I know
No.
it from.
So
Sorry,
the album was
pardon
called,
my
the
ignorance.
first album was called "Eat Out More Often," and
Yeah.
that was the cover, and they
Yeah.
recreated in the movie.
Yeah.
Really?
Like but he becomes famous with the records, and he tries to do this movie, but no movie studios want. And this is all how what's going on in the movie. You see him from his beginnings. Nobody wants to do this movie with
they
him.
all think he's gonna fail every
Yeah, they
single
think he's
time
gonna fail,
because
so-
he's failed a million times before.
Right.
He failed as a singer. He failed as a stand-up comic before he found Dolomite. So they just like nobody.
So
he's gonna fail.
So he ends up getting money to finance it, but it's a super low budget movie, and he ends up making this movie, and the movie is. And they use scenes from the actual movie, and they recreate scenes from the actual movie, because at the end they show you the actual clips from the movie versus what they filmed in for this movie. And like it was very much Dolomite was like the Airplane of the blaxploitation, because like the sex scene,
Yeah.
like stuff like that. Like it's very.
I love the way it all came about.
Yeah,
Like,
and-
it's very.
The cast, it's Craig Robinson, Keegan-Michael Key, it's Eddie Murphy, it's
Wesley Snipes.
Titus Burgess. Wesley Snipes is fucking great.
Yeah,
in the
it's
movie.
great. But I just love so much about this movie because aside from stuff like the acting and aside from the fact that they were very close to these things actually happen. It wasn't. They didn't take much liberties with it because they didn't need to, because it's a great story in its own. But what I love the fact that there's actual heart to this movie. And one of the scenes, not to spoil anything, one of the scenes where it just the filming of the movie was done, but he just couldn't sell it. He couldn't. Nobody would want to see it, and he was done. He was like, and he was pissed off and bitter. And like he was broke. He invested all his money. He was broke and all this shit there. And one of the great lines from the movie came from Craig Robinson. Was it Craig Robinson? I think it was Craig, where he turns to him and goes, "Man, why are you so mad? This isn't the first time you've failed. You always get back up." And I thought that was fantastic, because it just shows you, again, it hit close to home, because as an artist, as a performing artist, you go, fuck, you run into these walls and you just feel like you're never gonna fucking get anywhere else. Your career's never gonna go where you wanted it to go. And I love those moments where you just see Eddie Murphy, which is which is arguably the most successful stand-up comedian of all time, to portray a character who's like down and out, but I'm down but not out.
And when he started being successful, because there's also, I forgot her name, the big black,
I forget her name too.
He sees this lady.
I saw this movie months ago.
Yeah, he sees this lady at a club, and he's like, she punches out this other lady, and he goes up to
her boyfriend,
or the boyfriend, sorry, and then because of another lady, and then he approaches her, and she's like, nobody wants to see me, and he's like, no, you're beautiful, you have just as much to say as everybody else, and he brings her under his wing, starts having her as an opening act. He performs with her, and she becomes famous too.
Yeah.
And he puts her in the movie. He does everything, and it's
that scene in the limo at the end of the movie.
The scene at the end of the limo is fantastic. But my favorite
fucking
is
got choked up like a motherfucker
when she's talking to the white guy on set, and she's like, "Oh, so what have you done?" He's like, I'm usually the bad guy, white guy in all these movies. I was the bad guy, white guy in this movie. In this movie, she's like, "Well, you found your niche," and he goes, "Yeah, it pays the bills." So,
tiene cara.
Tiene cara.
So this was a passion project for Eddie Murphy.
and you can tell
that just because he played him, it did well, because his talent or whatever. But is it fair to say that Eddie Murphy is also not like Keanu Reeves in that he's talented? Don't shoot. But is it fair to say that Eddie Murphy is kind of having like a second wind in his career, or did he never go away?
He never really went away. Like I don't think he went. His second coming was the Nutty Professor.
But he did say
that was the Nutty that was his second coming, because before that,
that's true.
There was a drop off. Like there was he was
disappeared
But
again.
it didn't.
I don't think he disappeared. I just don't think.
No, he did, because I feel like I read a quote from him recently that it was like, I just wanted to take some time to be a dad, which is why he's like, and I feel like he said,
Oh, because he has like 12 children.
Yeah.
he's 10 kids. Yeah,
Yeah,
he got
he
into
had-
a big thing with Mel B from the Spice Girls because he denied paternity.
That was
For
like
like 2 years.
1999, bro.
For like 2 years. Yeah, but he's had other kids after that.
He has
Right.
10 kids
He
and
does-
he's a grandfather.
Right. But yeah, he said that he wanted. I feel like I read that like this week that he wanted to take time to just be a dad.
Right, but I don't think that's like I think there's a difference between to me. This is me. I think there's a difference between falling off because you keep making shit projects.
Okay.
And
just
falling
taking
off
time
and just not being in anything because
Right.
you're voluntarily. I don't want to be in
Yeah,
anything.
because-
I can't think off the top of my head in the recent future. To me, when he did SNL, I was like, "Oh, he's back." Like,
Well-
like the
Yeah,
was
he's
so
having
good.
like a
Jesus
renaissance.
Christ.
So-
when I watched
That
that,
was so
SNL episode, I was like, "Okay, now Eddie Murphy's back."
So-
I felt like he
He's
was
so
gone.
fucking.
I have his IMDb pulled up, and he was pretty consistently working up until 2011, and then he had a couple movies in 2012, one of them being Shrek, a TV movie in
God, I forgot that he's
2013. He's Donkey.
Yeah, I know. I
And
forget
in
that.
2016, so 3 years after that, is when he did Mr. Church. But then Dolomite is his first.
I don't even remember Mr.
Yeah, I don't
Church.
even
I don't
know.
remember.
Right. So Dolomite is his first movie since 2016. So he's taken breaks, but
Yeah.
he hasn't really been.
Mr. Church. Which
Gone.
one was Mr. Church?
But didn't
Try to
he?
remember.
Didn't he mention in? Didn't he mention in Comedians in Cars with Jerry Seinfeld that he hadn't done stand up in a while?
Oh, he hasn't done stand up in over 30 years.
Oh, okay.
He hasn't done stand up.
So that's where,
he
that's
is-
where he's coming around.
This is how good of a comic he was, a stand-up, and this is coming from a stand-up. This is how good of a stand-up he was. He hasn't done comedy in probably 33, 34 years, right? Which is the last special, which was Eddie Murphy Raw. And there are comedians nowadays who've been doing stand-up who've never seen, didn't know, like, cite him as an inspiration, yet he hasn't done stand-up in their lifetime.
Yeah.
That's how
Yeah.
monumental that guy was as a stand-up. You go, oh, Jesus Christ, this guy's, yeah. And I'm one of those guys. People ask me all the time, like, I grew up watching Eddie Murphy Delirious and Raw on loop in my house, which thank God my parents didn't know English. 'Cause they would not have allowed that. That is not appropriate. Like now as a father, like just to imagine my daughter in 2 years watching Eddie Murphy Delirious on loop, I was like, that's not a good idea. But that's what I was doing at 10, 11 years old because I had older siblings. I was like, and I just watched it over and over and over again. And it was just, yeah.
So Mr. Church is he plays Henry Joseph Church, and he plays a cook that's hired by a dying mother and her daughter.
Oh,
So a light movie.
I like movie. All right.
All right.
So Dolomite is my name.
Dolomite is my name. Fantastic. I love that movie. It was my number 9 or 8. Number 9. My number 9. All right. So my number 5, after the failed popes, was my number 5 is Long Shot.
Okay, so you
Okay.
guys can talk about it.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Did you guys watch The Long Shot?
I saw
It's
it.
on my list.
It's on her list.
Oh, okay.
I'm the only one that doesn't have it on my list.
You guys had it
Oh.
the same number.
Yeah.
You're still stupid about man.
I literally forced Missy to watch this movie. It wasn't like I badgered her with text messages. I sat her down.
Yeah, you
I
didn't
had
let me
little
leave.
eyeball openers like they did in Clockwork Orange, and I was like, "You are gonna watch this fucking movie," and I played it for her, and she was like, "But I'm like, shut the fuck up! You're gonna watch this movie."
It's all coming back to
I'm
me.
not taking no for an answer, and she was having a bad time. That was a bad time for her that day because all she wanted was dark chocolate, and I was like, "I'll get you your dark chocolate. Just shut the fuck up and watch this movie."
It's true. He's like, I mean, this has nothing to do with the movie, but he's like, why do you want dark chocolate? Because I'm bleeding. I'm bleeding. Help me. Okay, so I had it at
And I was like, "Quick, man, get her dark chocolate, man."
I think we were at CVS, and you're like, "You're gonna get 2?" I'm like, "Yes." He's like, "Let's get 3." I had it at 6.
Yeah.
You had it at
5.
5. You had it at 7. All right, so you had it higher. So
I just do. This is one of those movies where when I saw the trailer, I'm like, "Oh, this looks like it could be good," but because it's Seth Rogen, it can also be very bad. And I love Seth.
I love him.
I love him, but I'm also acknowledging, like, you know what I mean? Like, this is what I say about Missy. Like, Missy has that level of fandom that I don't have. Missy has that level of fandom where she loves Melissa McCarthy so much that she will refuse to acknowledge that Melissa McCarthy has made bad films. She doesn't stop me from saying it, which to me is an admittance, but she doesn't.
I was admission by
I was trying to be polite, but she hasn't.
Yeah.
She hasn't done bad movies.
So I'm not a super fan of like that of anybody. I'm a huge fan of The Rock, but I can acknowledge
also say that Hobbs and Shaw was a piece
I
of
also
shit.
say that Hobbs and Shaw's a piece of shit. So was Baywatch. So was like
Have you ever seen Doom?
I'm never gonna see Doom. Like that was something. I'm not even that guy who like I have to at least see it. Like no, I've never gonna see Doom. I'm never gonna see it. So with that said, this is how I feel about Seth Rogen. I'm a fan of Seth Rogen, but I also acknowledge that he's made shit projects before.
He's not perfect.
This is not one of those things. So when I saw the trailer, I go, okay, this could be good. It looks good, but so did the trailer for fucking
Everything.
50 Shades of Grey. Like this is not. So I watched the movie and I was like, holy fuck, this is not only is this better than I thought it would be, it is legitimately a very good movie.
I agree.
It's not just a romantic comedy. It's not just a comedy speaking about politics. It's this fucking smorgasbord of shit that it's like, this is all really, really fucking good. And on top of that, I know this gets said about 40-Year-Old Virgin all the time. Like, it's impossible to think that Seth Rogen would end up with Katherine Heigl, right?
Do you mean Knocked Up?
Knocked Up. I'm sorry. Did I say 40-Year-Old
You
Virgin?
did.
I said, I'm sorry, Knocked Up. He gets that all the time. For years, he got that. Like, it's unbelievable. It's not believable that Seth Rogen would be. And then you watch this movie, and he's with Charlize Theron, who is infinitely hotter than in every category, in every sense of the word. I would take Charlize Theron in Monster over Katherine Heigl. Like, she's infinitely fucking hotter.
Wow.
Infinitely hotter.
Well, it's because he knows it's makeup.
Yeah, just because I know it's deep down inside. If you lose weight, you become Charlize Theron again. Like, it's like one of those things. So Charlize Theron is different, but never once during this movie did I think, oh, it's impossible.
Yeah.
That's how good the writing of the movie is. That's how good the script is. Like, I believe that this character could get this character that happens to be portrayed by Charlize Theron.
I admittedly, I don't know if you remember this, Neri, but I admittedly was very snooty about watching this movie because of that exact point. Because I'm like, who the fuck's gonna believe that Seth Rogen and Charlize Theron are gonna end up together?
And since I already had seen it, I was like, oh,
he's like,
boy.
just fucking watch it. So 10 minutes in, I was like, oh, I want to see where this goes. And I would say for a rom-com, like, I'm a sucker for a rom-com. Not on other friends of mine who like rom-coms, but but in my own right, I will say that I'm a sucker for a rom-com. But what I really liked
you're a
about
sucker for
this,
good rom-coms.
So what I really liked about this rom-com is that the power dynamic that is explored in this relationship
That's what I love.
is completely unlike anything I've seen. I'm sure that there could be, but I haven't personally seen movies where that the power structure is favors the female character and not
in every way.
In every single way.
Not just professionally. It's not like she has her shit together professionally,
No.
but personally she's a mess. Like, no, she's better than him on every level.
in every single way.
In every single way.
And he comes into this situation. And he's, for those of you who haven't seen it, you haven't seen it, right?
Ice
Jeff?
Cube Jr. is fantastic.
Okay, I didn't.
His name is Tosha.
So listen,
No, O'Shea's Ice Cube.
It is O'Shea Jackson Jr. I did not see Straight Out of Compton, so I didn't really know about the gift that is O'Shea Jackson Jr. And I was like, this guy is fucking.
He plays a different character in Straight Outta Compton than Long Shot.
I granted, but he's like, he's the role of like the best friend, like, but he's
the sidekick.
Yeah, he's
But I
so
love that,
great.
like, that first scene when he finds out about it when he's in the meeting.
Yeah.
He's like, wasn't it like, everybody, you can go home.
Go home.
Yeah. And
Except you, Danny. You eat the fucking donuts. The donuts are for everybody. Can I just start? The soundtrack to this movie is fucking
awesome.
great. It's all 90s shit that I'm like, yes, bro. Yeah, so good.
And the other thing that I really enjoyed was that it was an honest interaction between them. Like, it wasn't just like girl meets boy and then they're flirt, like it's the cat and mouse chase and then they end up together. There's fights and about real shit, not like where'd you put the toothpaste, like that
not
kind of
marriage
shit.
story shit fights, but like real fights nonetheless.
Well, I mean, she's in politics, right? She's running for
She's gonna be running for president.
for president. She's running for president.
She's a Secretary of State.
And then
I love the fucking fact that this guy plays the president. The guy from Breaking Bad, the guy, the lawyer.
Saul.
Sal plays the president, and he plays the dumbass.
Yeah,
like he's just so dumb. And I like the fact he goes in the beginning. He was like, "You've been an excellent secretary."
But he's an ex-actor.
Yeah. And I like the fact that he goes, "You've been an excellent secretary," and she goes, "Of state." Like she's just added. It's like, I think that's important to add of state. Like she's not like a regular secretary. She's like of state. Like I've been a secretary of state.
And I'm trying to find his name, but
as soon as you say, I can't remember right now.
Bob Odenkirk. Bob Odenkirk.
Diane Rayfield.
And the big culmination of the
she's
entire.
in it too. She plays her assistant, and I love her.
She's so fucking smoking hot. Jesus Christ! Oh
you should have watched Grace and Frankie. She's fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
And the big culmination in the
just
story.
watch it on mute. Is she still as hot on mute? Okay.
The big culmination in the story.
And her sister's
Let her.
Brooklyn. Sorry.
You keep fucking fourth time.
Go.
The big culmination of the story.
The big culmination of the story is he willing to give up the big question at the end where it's the will they won't they isn't based on some frivolous typical rom-com
and it
shit.
isn't based upon personal, it's based upon professional.
Professional, right?
Yeah.
Professional, yeah.
And it's a question of again because,
which again I guess is personal, but yeah.
But not like, are you going to pick her or me?
Yeah.
It's more, I think it has way more substance than we typically see in rom-coms.
I think it's, what I love about it, it's not, are you going to pick her or me? It's, are you going to pick you or me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but typically
because you know what I mean? You meaning are you going to pick your selfish ways?
Right.
Or you, and it goes both for both of them, not just for one side or the other. I think it's fun. It's played really well.
Really well. I really enjoyed it, and I think
I love the fact that they had a fat guy as a Secret Service. I thought that was fantastic. I shout out to them. I'm like, this is great. And it's funny because I brought that up, and she goes, "Oh my god, I didn't even realize he's fat." I'm like, exactly. Thank you, Hollywood. Pay attention. You can actually put fat people in roles, and it's not going to be the end of the fucking world. Like it's nowhere, no point in time did Missy go, you know what I don't like? This fucking fat guy has a fucking Secret Service. I mean, how far is he going to run? Really? Like that's not going to happen.
Well, I'm sure
there was any like retribution from Canada, given that they portrayed the Prime Minister as a vampire.
Oh my god, he was a vampire.
I
super creepy, goofy vampire with dumb teeth.
Yeah. So anyway, you cut it, and I
Do you remember who it was? Because you're not responding.
I don't remember.
Eric Northman was the Prime Minister of Canada.
Yeah, you're right. Yes. Oh, he was a fucking creep in this movie.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't like that because I love him.
Yeah, but he's a creep in everything he does.
But it's always like a hot creep. Like he was not a hot creep
because they put fake teeth on him. That's the only thing they did to him.
Fangs?
No, they put fake teeth. No, he really has
even
fangs.
in Big Little Lies, where he's a piece of shit, he's still hot.
They saw. No, he's not.
Yeah, he is.
She just said Manson was hot, so really, you want to give her credit. You want to ease up on this one.
You
want to ease
wait
up
a
on
minute.
this one.
Wait a minute.
You said that the guy that hits women with tire irons is hot. So
you just told me that his character in Big Little Lies.
Ted Bundy was hot. Like 5
I know,
minutes
but
ago.
I need to. I need to. You know,
doesn't take away from him being good looking. He's a piece of shit. Yes, I acknowledge he's a piece of shit. He's still fucking hot.
As a man, I'm with her on this.
Corey from the morning show is a piece of shit. He's still fucking hot.
He's not hot.
He's super hot.
You got to talk to somebody about that shit, bro. Because I don't know. But
Missy, not for nothing, but you did say that Aaron Hernandez is hot. So
you did.
I did.
Yeah,
and he's a real life one.
He's
I know.
These are fake pieces of shit.
No, but that's why I was
or
like,
scripted at least.
Right.
I'm gonna feel like shit if I'm watching this and I'm still thinking he's hot. Like that's why I don't want to watch it because it's just not. I don't want to go there, you know.
Right.
But I don't even care what I was gonna say anymore. That's it. That's
Long
it
shot.
for that. Long shot.
Number 5. So our number 5s were Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Dr. Sleep, Dolomite Is My Name, and Long Shot. 4.
My number 4 is Rocket Man.
Rocket Man.
Cable.
I haven't seen it.
Nice.
That's an honorable mention for me.
I have not seen it.
It's good.
It's awesome.
He's gay.
No.
Spoiler alert.
My number 4, I feel like might be.
Oh, wait, are we talking about the two popes now?
Oh my god!
Too soon?
Fail popes.
Too soon? Too soon? So
Let me make sure it's a lightning.
I'm kidding. Not gay. Nazi. So
I can't. I'm not gonna argue.
Okay
No,
with
Steph's
I'm
okay
not
with
gonna
it.
argue with you there.
So Steph.
My number 4 is Judy.
I bought it yesterday because I didn't remember that Missy had bought it because I went to her recent purchases.
That's where I saw it from her account.
Yeah, but I went to recent purchases yesterday and I didn't see it. And then I was like, I'm pretty sure she bought it. And I was like, am I really going to go through? Because you got to go through that section of all her movies.
If
I'm
only
like,
we had a spreadsheet.
no, but I was like, am I really going to go through all her fucking female movies? Like, I don't want to sit through
Going
it.
through it, I'm like, fuck, man. I don't want to defend Harry, but he's right.
He's 100%
I'm just like, oh my
right.
God, Jesus.
Yeah.
You know what my father-in-law asked me the other day? He goes, is facing the Giants in the family share? And I'm like, and David was like, Nary would never have that. And I'm like, yeah, but Missy
Yeah,
would.
it was $5. It was $5.
I don't know what Facing the Giants is.
It's one of these like Christian
Yes, you do.
movies.
Remember that you're like
That
you gave me
awful
shit for-
fucking movie, yes.
Christian football movie.
That's so fucking bad,
When he
dude.
fucking
So bad.
listen,
Don't smear football's name in
Hold
this
on,
shit.
it's a
Don't be
football
yeah.
No, it's
but
not.
it's
Hold
not
on.
about.
The day
More of a
I
football
bought it, he called me at 7:15 in the morning and he goes, "Let me ask you a question. Why the fuck?" He goes, "Did you buy this because of the big football scene, whatever the scene that everybody knows about?"
Yeah.
And they go, "Yeah, it was only
Everybody who's been through
$5."
youth group knows
Everybody
about
that's ever been in a retreat or youth group knows about that fucking scene.
I didn't even know. You know what's sad? I didn't even see that scene in youth group. I've seen that
I've
scene
seen that scene only because
on
of
you.
you.
I've seen it on YouTube because of this shit.
Wait, because he goes, "Did you buy it because of the football field scene?" And I go, "Yeah." He goes, "How much did you pay for it?" I said, $5. And he goes, "You know, you can watch that scene for free on YouTube, right?"
He goes, she literally says, she goes, I only bought it for that. She goes, but wait, let me tell you why I bought it. I go, let me guess, because of the scene. And she goes, yeah. I go, you could see that scene for free on YouTube. I don't understand why the fuck this is. That's the only reason I've seen that scene is YouTube.
In fact, when we would play it on retreats, we would grab it from YouTube.
And that's when I realized I wasted $5 that day.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah.
So you don't have Judy on your
I do.
She
No,
does,
it's
but
not
I just did not.
Oh no, it's in my account, but it's not on my list.
Okay.
I didn't get to watch it.
Oh, okay.
Because I was.
I haven't watched it either.
Julie's the only one I know watched it.
Oh, I loved it, guys.
I mean,
You haven't watched
I'm
it?
guessing.
No, I bought it. I bought it yesterday, and then I was gonna watch it, and then my son wouldn't. We live.
Oh, you told
we
me
live a glass door away from my mother, and so he was playing on. He was hanging out with her all day, and I was like, I'm gonna take advantage and watch Judy. And then he came over and just sat on the couch, and I'm like, I don't think Judy's a very appropriate movie because if it goes based upon her life, there's a lot of drug use and there's a lot of, and then so I'm like, again, I was there, I lived it, but I know about this situation.
Judy takes place in London, so
Yeah.
you weren't there.
No, I was there, mate.
Not only not only is it based on her life, it's based specifically in the last 9 months of her life
Yeah.
where she was a fucking mess.
Yeah, hot mess.
So-
yeah. So I chose. I was like, I'm not gonna watch this. I wanted to.
This story's so great.
So then I
family got killed.
I started watching.
Unfortunately.
Listen to this.
So
Listen to
I
the
said to
story.
myself, what movie is on my list that I haven't seen in a while that is still appropriate or semi-appropriate for my child, at least semi-appropriate. So I put Endgame. Right? Again,
fair.
not really appropriate for a 5-year-old, but not really like.
My 5-year-old watches it.
Yeah, but he watches House of a Thousand Corpses.
You're
That's
right.
very different. So,
Dr. Sleep.
Yeah, Dr. Sleep was amazing for him. No, but I was like, not really the most appropriate, but not really the most inappropriate either.
Right.
So I started watching it, and then I look over an hour and a half later. I look over, and this motherfucker's asleep. On the couch, my son, and I'm like, no, I could watch Judy. I'm like, no, but now the fucking portals are opening up in Endgame. I'm definitely gonna fucking keep watching this shit now. So I didn't watch Judy, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
So all that to say, I didn't watch it.
So why do you like the movie, Steph? Because Liza.
Liza's in it for 4 seconds, and I was like really disappointed.
Was she actually in it?
No, it's an
real
actress portraying Liza.
Was Liza a producer in this movie? Does she
I
have
don't
anything
think
to do?
she's involved in this at all.
Does she like the movie?
I haven't really read up on it, to be honest. I probably should have, but I can't imagine that she does.
Why? I mean, if they did an actual portrayal or an honest portrayal, I should say.
I feel like it's an honest portrayal based on everything that I've read.
Maybe she had a problem with it because
about
of Roman Polanski.
Yeah, right. I know that Lorna, which is the younger daughter, I think was involved in this. But so I won't say too much. I mean, we all know what happens to her. But what I liked about it is that throughout the movie, one of the things
Yeah,
that
she makes it across the football
She
field.
doesn't make it.
yeah, she makes it across the football field, guys. What I like about it is, I don't know if you know or have read about like the really terrible things that like the producers did to her while she was on the set of Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, that's what I've again, Wizard of Oz is one of my all-time
Yeah.
favorites. And I've known about this. I did a book report on Wizard of Oz is one of the few books that I've read. Not only have I read, but I legitimately love and reread.
Right.
Yeah, I know about they called her fat. She was like super.
They would give her like basically
pills.
like speed pills to like cut her appetite. They wouldn't let her eat. There was like she was like was oh god, what was that name of that guy? One of these famous guys that she was friends with like early when she was a teenager, and they were at like a diner, and like the lady that from the studio that was like responsible for taking care of her like literally takes like the burger that she's about to eat. Like she's been saying for weeks that all she wants is a burger, all she wants is a burger.
Well, there's a story here that says it says I googled Liza Minnelli reaction to Judy movie, and the story says Judy director responds to Liza Minnelli's criticism of film. So I'm gonna go ahead and say
Liza's not okay with it.
Yeah.
So, which I mean, Liza's been through her own shit too. Like she's had
For real, talk about fucking repeating history. Holy shit.
yeah, exactly. Like Liza has a hole in her nose that she can stick her finger through from like how much cocaine she's done.
So does yeah, so does what's his name?
She makes fun of it when she's on stage. She like puts her finger through it.
So does
That's dark.
what's the dude's name? What's love got to do with it?
Ike
Ike Turner. Yeah, Ike Turner has a hole in his nose for saying
I think he's dead though.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So now he's got. Never mind.
so now he's got a lot of
He's
holes.
got a whole lot of business.
But anyway, Renelle Zellweger, is like, and I've never been super crazy about her. I'm not one of these like Bridget Jones lovers. Like I'm not.
I've never seen Bridget Jones.
I never
movie,
have
but I
either.
think she's not a great actress. But then
Right,
again,
but
this
the only
clearly
thing
proves
that I
wrong.
really ever liked her in is Chicago.
So good.
But she's
Wait, so how can you not be a Bridget Jones lover if you've never seen it?
because it's never appealed to me.
All right.
So
Begrudgingly, that's the sound of acquiescence. She's like, fine, whatever.
but that being said, she was phenomenal in this movie. Finn Wittrock is in it too, who's like the guy that he plays like a bunch of creepy people on American Horror Story. He plays her last husband. She was married 5 times. And she's just it cuts back from like all the fucked up things that happened to her like while she was
Does it do like time sequence?
yeah,
jumps?
it does time jumps like and cuts into like all the fucked up things that happened to her while she was on Wizard of Oz, and like basically like not explaining or justifying, but like kind of giving you a reason as to like how she ended up where she ended up. She basically is broke and needs to like get a job. She's estranged from her 4th husband, who is the father of her 2 younger children, and she basically starts doing these like concert series in London, and it's just kind of like how she slowly,
Like
while
that
she's
time
in
period.
London, like just spinning out of control. Like she's already out of control, but just like the nosedive until her eventual death. So, but it's
Nosedive is a good choice of words.
She died of a barbiturate.
Snowballed into it.
I no, because I don't think
that's
she wasn't
hilarious.
cocaine. She did like pills, so she was like a barbiturate.
Nah, your nose doesn't get a hole through it.
That's Liza.
Oh, it's Liza. Oh, I'm
That's
sorry.
Liza.
That's
yeah.
the daughter,
still
not the
alive.
mom.
Sorry.
Liza's still alive.
Liza's like, hold my beer, mom. Hold my Coke.
Good choice. I look forward to seeing it one day.
Yeah, it's really good. I recommend it. It's good, and it's not long. It's like an hour and a half. So
It didn't do well, which I was surprised because it came out around the same time that
well,
A Star Is Born came out last year, and
I don't
Star
think
Wars
it did well, like box office wise, but critically it did well. And she's
Yeah, no, I was just on the Wikipedia page. It grossed globally like 38 million.
yeah,
So not.
but like it critically is done.
But still didn't lose more money than Cats.
nope, it did not. Or Doolittle,
Or
apparently.
Doolittle. All right.
All right. So we are Judy. All right. Jeff.
4, right?
Yeah.
My number 4 is the Peanut Butter Falcon.
Peanut.
I never saw it.
Never saw it.
Neri's the only other one that saw it.
I saw it.
So it's with Shia LaBeouf. I love this movie. It was one of those movies that, it's one of these feel good movies, but at the same time, has a message to it. Like, what happened?
I'm turning off Stephanie's mic so she could eat a cookie.
Oh,
Go ahead.
so the basic premise is
So you
that
touch the green
there's
button. Sorry, go ahead.
the basic premise of it is that there's a this young guy with Down syndrome. He's like in his early 20s that's living at a facility because his parents both died, and he all he wants to ever be is a professional wrestler. That's his dream. And then there's a character, I don't know if you remember, it was a Saltwater Redneck, I think was the name of the wrestler. That he looked up to, and all he ever wanted to do, he had videos of his commercials for his wrestling school.
Old videos.
Old videos.
Obviously.
Like VHS tapes. So he escapes from the facility in his underwear with nothing else on to try to go to this wrestling school. At the same time, you have this story of Shia LaBeouf, who's this like down and out, he's a thief and a fisherman that gets busted stealing people's lobster cages, and he sets a fire to this boatyard and has destroys like $12,000 worth of equipment, and these guys are chasing after him. So he steals a boat, which happens to be a boat that the kid with Down syndrome's sleeping in. So it's one of these things where then it becomes this adventure of the two of them, learning from each other, like, because at the same time you have Dakota Johnson's in the movie. She plays
She's great in that movie.
She's not a therapist. She's like a caseworker kind of thing for the kid. So her boss tells her, you need to find him. So she goes out trying to look for him. So there's becomes this whole situation of, yes, this kid has Down syndrome, but he knows a lot more, and he deserves a lot more freedom and respect than what they're giving him at this facility. So it then becomes this whole thing, like, spoiler alert, she catches up to them, and her and Shia LaBeouf have this back and forth of arguing about
What's right for him.
What's right for this kid, because this kid's been with Shia LaBeouf for like 3 or 4 days out doing whatever he needs to do. He teaches him how to shoot. He teaches him like all this stuff. And Shia LaBeouf's like lost his brother, and he's been lost ever since then. So he's also learning from this kid and realizing that, this kid's the friend that he needed. And like they go through this adventure. There's a couple professional wrestlers that are in the movie.
Like actual professional wrestlers.
Yeah,
And
Mick Foley.
I'm not going to say how it ends,
Jake
but
the
it's
Snake.
one of those. But it's one of those movies where there is everybody kind of learns from each other and realizes that life isn't necessarily as bad as you think it is, and also that people don't underestimate people, because there's a really cool scene at the end in the wrestling match that it's a little over the top, a lot over the top.
But is it Hobbs and Shaw over the top?
Is it DDP on the top ropes at 110 years old?
Yeah. It's a little bit over top. For the most part, the movie's realistic.
Yeah. No, everything's realistic except for the end.
But then that one part is kind of meant to show you don't underestimate people.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I'm looking at the Wikipedia page for it, and it has 96% on Rotten Tomatoes with 178 reviews. But long story short, it was the highest grossing independent film of last year. So it did really well.
I
all
really
things
enjoyed
considered.
it. I know I hounded everybody to watch it.
Oh, I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. It's a really good movie. The acting's really good.
Shia LaBeouf surprised me how great he was in it.
Shia LaBeouf does not surprise me how great he is. I believe he's a really great
Well,
actor.
true.
I think
He is a good actor. He fucked it.
Personally, he had an episode. He had a Britney,
he did.
situation.
He hasn't recovered as well as Britney's recovered.
I sincerely
I disagree, because he's been on a bunch of like shows.
But he has recovered, not financially. I know she's talking about Britney,
like successfully
financially, but artistically he's recovered better than Britney.
Oh, I'm not debating that, because I know that you guys, like, I never saw it, but I know that you guys said that he was great in Fury.
Phenomenal in Fury. I don't remember a last movie that he was in that he was like, he's a weak link. He's not. I don't think he's ever
been a weak link.
That's what I'm saying. He just personal life went to he went through a breakdown, and personally he went through some shit.
He's purposefully not done any studio films since Lawless. He's only done independent since then, on purpose. And I hope that changes, because he's very, very talented.
He's super talented. I like the guy. And then I saw him on Jimmy Kimmel when he was promoting the movie
Honey Boy.
Honey Boy, and it was very authentic. It was very like down to earth. It was very like
he is. He is.
I found it great.
And
but I like this movie a lot. I like this movie a lot, and I like Shia LaBeouf's character. We get to see why he is the way he is.
Right.
During their journey, it's very much a buddy travel movie where two people are traveling through the country or whatever. And
Like Rain Man.
Rain Man.
Exactly.
I was gonna say like Dumb and Dumber or like Rain Man. Yeah.
Oh, wow, two very different movies.
But they're the same. It's very two people
It's a buddy
traveling together.
comedy.
It's a budding. I don't want to say comedy, but it's a
road trip movie.
It's a road trip movie, and when we learn through flashback of why he is the way he is, you go, holy fuck! This is I thought it was a great movie. I thought it was a really good movie.
That scene at the when they're in around the fire, and they kind of like.
Well, that scene when they're on the boat.
Yeah.
That scene.
Oh yeah, on the boat too. Yeah.
When he said brother, I was like, woo.
Yeah. You're crying. But I highly recommend it. Peanut Butter Falcon.
Peanut Butter Falcon. All right, that was number 4.
Yeah. You're number 4 in BFF.
My number 4. So my number 4 is Star Wars: Rise of Skywalker.
We can talk
Cool
about
story, bro.
So there's nothing I can't say any more than I've already said in the spoiler special.
Right.
2 episodes ago. I really like this movie. I am admittingly a new Star Wars fan. My Star Wars fandom started around whatever year it was that Force Awakens came out.
2015.
So it's only been a few years, and I am, because I guess I'm a product of my time, I guess, of my fandom time. I love the sequel trilogy much more than the other trilogies. So that's where.
Well, you're right to like it more than the prequel trilogy. 'Cause that's fine. That's fair.
But anyway, so my point is to say I love this movie. It's my favorite Star Wars movie thus far of any of the Star Wars movies. So I really enjoyed a lot of it. There's a couple things I didn't like about the movie, but didn't take away from the movie. The kiss.
So bad.
And stuff like that. But, ugly face. Ugh. Don't. You're not good enough for her.
No, he is not.
No, he's not.
People are putting too much fucking emphasis on this kiss. Like, a kiss is just a
Are
kiss.
Is it?
It's not.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay.
It's like
if you
A dying kiss. A dying kiss is not just a dying kiss. That's a dying kiss.
If you
But
first
you're-
of all, if you didn't expect that kiss, then you weren't
I
watching the 3
did
movies.
not expect it. I
Because
just
they
am
had
mad that
sexual
it
tension the
happened.
entire
No, I didn't know
disagree.
what to do with their
disagree.
attention. I didn't know if it was sexual or if it was
did not
family
see
drama.
I did not see it sexual at all. I saw a power struggle. This is what, again, I've said this in the spoiler special. So if you've listened to the spoiler special episode, thank you. But I'm sorry for repeating myself for these next minute. I saw it as a power struggle. I saw frustration, but I never saw it as sexual frustration. I saw it as a power frustration where he's trying to maybe seduce her, but seduce her to the dark side, not sexually seduce. I never saw it as like he wants to take his dick out and fuck her, and she wants to do the same thing. I took it as he wants to.
She takes her dick
I
out.
want to. I took it as she's super powerful. I know what she is, and I want her on my side because I'm afraid that if I get her on my side, then I could be the most powerful the next Darth Vader. And I saw her frustration as being like, I need your fucking help because there's nobody else that can teach me about this fucking Force shit, and you're a fucking evil asshole that killed your father. The first person who gave me
Like a shot.
Right. Like, the fact that he's like, hey, come on be on board the Falcon and blah blah. And
I can't hear you over him shirtless, sweating, and her staring at him lovingly during that.
I don't think that was lovingly. You think that was You think that was lovingly?
Like she was like,
she literally goes, "Get away from me!" Like she said the words, like, "I don't want you. Why are you here? Get away."
classic kindergarten teeth.
Yeah, but that's what they teach you.
Let's
That's what they teach you. But anyway, I don't. When it comes to the kiss specifically, and the tension, the Kylo, Ray tension, I didn't know where to file it. I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't know. But
you don't have a dumpster.
Oh God!
And you're
so and what I've gathered from just getting different opinions about the kiss, not independent from the entire movie and franchise.
Very divisive.
It's you either loved it and you want 5 rom-com movies from it. Your wife, Jeffrey.
I know.
Or you fucking hate it and you're totally against it. I'm of the opinion of
I'm not. Again, I'm against the kiss. I don't think it ruined the movie. I don't think anything. I don't think
Like,
any
it
of that.
didn't-
Like I
It
said-
didn't ruin the movie, but it was not necessary.
Thank you. Thank you.
whatever. Sometimes you need to make out. I don't know. If you're dying, don't you want to go out like making out?
Oh, and this isn't on. On Ugly Face either. This is on.
His name is Adam, sir.
Whatever. This isn't on that character. It's on Ray because Ray kissed him. This is totally not on him. Like he's if I was him, I'd be like, oh, I'm dying, and there's a beautiful woman kissing me. Oh no, like I'm not gonna. I would do exactly what he did. He's like, oh shit, this is happening. Fuck, I didn't expect this because I wanted to kill you for years. Weird.
But I think that was
That's
almost
weird.
like a thank you because she knew what he had just done.
You can just say thank you.
Yeah, you can just say thank
you.
I don't know.
And that's why none of us are Oscar writers or writers of anything.
Neither are the people who wrote,
Yeah.
neither is the people who wrote Skywalker because they weren't.
But it's a number
nominated
3
either.
for you.
No, I love the movie, but they weren't nominated
Yeah,
for an
but
Oscar.
he's
You know
not-
what I'm saying? You just said we're not
J.J.
Oscar
Abrams isn't nominated for an Oscar for
Yeah.
this,
Right.
so we're fine.
or anything. Has he been nominated? No.
I think he's won
had-
probably visual shit.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah,
have to
I don't think he's
imagine.
been- But I had it at number 10. It was between that and this other movie that I'll mention later, but because I'm sure somebody has it on their list.
Don't look at my list, bro.
I didn't look at your list. You don't have? Do you have your list? Now?
Yeah, my list has been up the whole time.
Oh, no.
I forget that sometimes. I'm like, oh, shit.
I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was a good conclusion to the series, to the trilogy, to the series.
Yeah.
I had it so high because I think that there was a lot of fan service that JJ had to do because of the decisiveness of The Last Jedi.
I agree.
So
I
that's
agree,
why-
but for me, that also didn't take anything away.
But it did for me because I think that he tried to put in
Star
a
Wars has
lot.
always been about fan service. I feel like since the prequel series, it's been 6 movies of fan
Right,
service.
right. You're right.
So-
but the problem is that you're doing fan service, filling in 8 movies worth of stuff that you're saying. Let me in a 2 hour and 30-minute movie. You're trying to pencil in fan service from 8 different movies.
Here's
I'm okay with fan service. I think
I love this is the problem with it. When you don't do fan service, you get The Last Jedi and people get mad.
Yeah.
And so when you do fan service, you go, oh, you're just doing fan service. Like, well, fucking, what do you? I mean, there's a no
Yeah,
win here.
Star Wars
and that's what happens when there's a franchise so popular,
Yeah.
so big.
You're
There
never
really
gonna
is.
please anybody.
You're never gonna please. Like, it's so weird because literally the last movie. It's not even like we have to go back. Like, remember 1978 when they?
Right.
We don't have to go back that far. There's a the previous movie in this franchise went against fan service and it got ripped to shreds by the fucking fans for it. At least divisive, because there were some people that loved it, me, people that hated it, Jeff, and it was very and why? Because it didn't give you the fan service that people wanted. Then JJ comes back and goes, fine, I'll give you all the fan service and quote unquote fix all the problems that this last movie that went against type gave you, and then everybody's like, well, you know what I don't like is all the fan service. It's like, well, fucking hey, dude, you can't.
No, you
No,
can't.
but,
win.
no win.
okay, but
Can't
because the way you're explaining it, so one of my big issues with the Last Jedi,
And I don't just mean you,
was-
Jeff. I'm not attacking you. I'm talking
But-
about the fandomness of
Now,
this
when-
franchise.
Now I feel let me clarify when I say the fan service. I have no problem with fan service. What I felt was the lacking in The Rise of Skywalker was he had to put so much extra fan service in there. I'm totally okay with some fan service. I don't mind it. You see Lando flying the Falcon. I'm like, okay, cool. That's fan service for
Right.
you. You know, there's certain parts where I'm like, okay, you know, you can have some fan service, but it felt to me like he was just throwing in everything.
such as
he could.
example.
Chewie getting his medal. That was fan service that in the comics he already got his medal. He gave it to a little girl.
Yeah, but a comics.
But
Like,
that's
this
fine,
is-
but the comics are canon. They've already said the comics are
Right, but
canon.
the average,
Yeah, but the average-
superficial
I'm-
fan
that's
is
fine.
not.
And I'm not
but that's
wrong.
No,
Yeah.
but like I like Star Wars. I don't dislike it. I like it. I really enjoy those movies. But that's where it lives and dies for me. Just like Marvel, it lives and dies at movies for me.
Right.
I'm not reading comics. I'm not reading books. I'm not doing I'm not doing all the extra shit. So for fans,
You're not Karen.
right.
You're not Karen when it comes to Star Wars.
Right. So, and I think most people are like me. Like the most people are pretty average about it. Like there's a smaller group that is like the diehard fanboys and like are pissed that the books don't count anymore and all this bullshit, which is fine. You have your right to be upset about that. But I think that like the average person is like me and like Neri, that this is where it begins and ends at movies.
Yeah.
So
mine only reaches movies and a video game if somebody else tells me it's really good, but not because it's a, no, but not because it's a Star Wars video game.
Right.
Just because it's a video game. Yeah, Jeff was like, this game is great. I'm like, okay. If the movie literally could have been about the game could have been about Star Trek, I still would have picked it up because it was a good game.
Right.
It just happened to be Star Wars. Like that's where my lineage
My
lies.
point when saying that, sorry to interrupt. My point when saying that is that like the average person watching this movie doesn't know those things, so you have to kind of. I feel like you have to kind of show them. I thought that Chewie's medal was very sweet. I know what they had to do with Leia was very limited, and I know that this was supposed to be like her send off because like just how the other two originals had like the movie that was their movie and their send off, and I know that they couldn't do it the way that they wanted to because of what happened to Carrie Fisher, but I think that they did it beautifully. The fact that like her force like body thing like waited for Ben was was like that killed me, dude.
Right.
No,
Chewbacca falling when he heard that Leia had died, that was just like I that was the most. Now, and I'm sorry, I'm going to correct myself. Chewie got his own medal in the comics, which to tag on to what you were saying, then Kathleen Kennedy shouldn't come out and say they're canon. Because if it's canon, then it's the story.
You guys when that whole bullshit of her saying that like we don't have content.
Right.
Like you have plenty of content, you're choosing not to use it. But again, I don't care about that.
Yeah,
stuff.
I think you're letting the and this is the same thing I told Missy when Natalie Portman came back to Marvel.
Right.
I think you're letting the knowledge that we have about the backstage, about the industry, affect your opinions about the film that we're given.
That's true.
Like you know what I mean? Like Missy was upset because where the fuck were you in the last 3 movies? She was upset about Natalie Portman, and she was upset that Natalie Portman is going to be Thor because she said, and I'm speaking for Missy because she went to the restroom, she went to the bathroom. She got upset that Natalie Portman's character, there's other female characters, they deserve a movie before you do because you left Marvel. And I was like, I think you're mad at the system. I think you're mad at the producers for not making it. I'm like, that's not Natalie Portman's fault. That's Natalie
Portman's gripe was that just some quickly, Patty Jenkins was originally supposed to direct the first Thor, and then they had the Disney like creative differences thing, and she went on to direct Wonder Woman, which I'm
far superior movie.
Yeah, so I mean, I would have liked to see Patty Jenkins Thor, but
I would like to see a Patty Jenkins anything. She's fucking fantastic.
So, but Natalie Portman was Team Patty Jenkins, so she had to fulfill her contract for the first 2 movies. Like she had to, which is why for the second one she kind of like
she was actually contracted for the third one, but because she phoned it in for the second one,
they told her not.
Marvel was like, nah, you're all right.
We're good.
You're all right. You're like that Jonas brother that we don't want to focus. Like,
Kevin.
You're Kevin.
Poor Kevin. Justice for Kevin.
But I mean, it's still on my list. It made my top 10. I still enjoyed the movie, and I had a lot of moments.
It's an honorable mention for me. I like I said, I liked Star Wars.
Yeah.
I really really liked it. I didn't really have any. I did not like Last Jedi. But
I love that movie.
But there were things about Last Jedi I liked, but overall, like like as a whole, it's just not.
So look. This list for me this is the first
was
blockbuster.
Last Jedi on your list last year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or the year before.
Whatever, yeah.
This it's my number 2 Star Wars. Like I legitimately I've seen Last Jedi 3 times in the last 2 weeks.
What's your number 1 now?
But my point is, this is my number 1. This is my first Rise of Skywalker is my first legitimate blockbuster on my list, which is saying something because to me in the past has been, and I'm one of those guys that I'm like, I don't give a fuck because I'm not gonna not pick a blockbuster just for the sake of not picking a blockbuster. But I did love this movie. Like I thought it was great, and there was a part of me this year where I was surprised. I told Missy, I'm surprised at how many movies are on my list that are Netflix originals, Hulu originals, Amazon Prime originals. Like
because the medium is changing.
The medium is changing, but those in picking those movies, that makes it immediately not a blockbuster because those are fucking streaming movies. But I just love Skywalker. I said this on the. I also said this on the spoiler episode. I want more of Rey and Finn and Poe. I want the story to continue. I don't know how, so whether it's in TV show format like The Mandalorian or I don't know what. Just give me more of their fucking story. Yeah. I hope this is not the last I see of them because I love those 3 together.
Yeah, they're great.
fucking Poe is fantastic, and I just give me more of everything of that. I just want more. That's my only thing.
That's one of my favorite scenes of Poe is in Last Jedi. It's that opening scene with him and the X.
I'm waiting for Dr. Hug.
Dr. Hugs.
I'm
Colonel Hugs. Colonel Hugs.
General Hugs.
General Hugs.
Yeah.
No, he said General Hugs, and it's like, and when you watch it with the subtitles, it's so much funnier.
Yeah.
Because it says Hugs, and he goes, "Yeah, this is General whatever his name is,
Hugs. Yeah.
And he goes, "Yeah, I'm still waiting for General Hugs." Like it's so fucking good, man. That's so good. Do I talk first? You talk first. I talk first. I don't know.
David and Lincoln did like a marathon before going into Star Wars, and Link hilariously loves the Dr. Hugs, or General Hugs. Like he'll just go, "Mom, I'm on hold for General Hugs."
Yeah, so good. He's so good, man. Like I love Poe's character, Finn's character. I thought it was fantastic.
I mean, the movie gave us Babu Frick, which is
so
amazing.
So good. I get the scene with C-3PO speaking Sith. It's so fucking good, dude.
Yeah.
Bro, I don't know. I loved it. I love this movie. I thought it was great. But again, I'm not. I almost feel bad talking about Star Wars because Star Wars fandom is so
divisive.
Not divisive. It's so judgmental.
Oh yeah.
Because and this is not coming from Jeff and Dave, who are my best friends. This is coming from the culture,
the fandom as a
the
whole.
culture as a whole. I feel as if like, well, you just started liking it now, so you don't have as much right to speak on this as I do because I've been a fan since 1975. And I'm like, okay, you're right. Like I feel like that type of shit. And to a lesser extent,
man, a fan is a fan, and you can appreciate
again. But you know, with that said, there are times where I talk to people who have never picked up a comic book in their life, and their entire knowledge of comic books are from movies.
Yeah.
And I don't say, oh, you don't know shit, but I do go like, okay, I get, you know what I mean? I have to remind myself they haven't read comics, or they're so I'm like, okay, that's cool. If you like, you know, you liked Iron Man 3, okay, like I have to.
Like you're not good enough because you haven't invested as much time.
Correct.
Like,
and I don't go to that extent, but I can understand their logic, but I don't agree with it. But that Star Wars, when there's so many fans of that caliber, where you go. Again, and I'm not putting Jeff and Dave because they've never been like that to me. I've never felt that they like, well, you don't know shit. Mm-hmm. And Dave more so than Jeff in the sense of like he's actually read. Have you read the books, the actual books?
I've read like 2 or 3.
Yeah, Dave like he fucking quotes these books, and I'm like, okay, but they don't have pictures, dude. Get over it.
Loser.
No, like I've never felt that way from my friends, but I have felt that way from us. Like I feel, and again, nobody's ever told me. I've never had a fan be like, you don't know shit.
No, but that is the culture.
But I do feel like a little like whenever I go, I like The Last Jedi. People go, what the fuck? And I'm like,
I mean, I'm going to tell you this, and I mean, it's off the topic because it's Rise of Skywalker, but I recently rewatched The Last Jedi, and I don't hate it as much as I hated it before.
Dave gave that same quote unquote compliment the other day.
Yeah.
But I don't hate it as much. I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, they were watching it.
Well, okay, I don't hate it.
Yeah.
They were watching it.
I still don't love it.
Right.
I was like in and out, like doing like house shit or whatever, and I was just kind of like speaking. I'm like, man, I forgot how bad this fucking movie. But that means that there's good moments in that.
Everybody has their own. Like, I'm not mad at anybody for liking or not liking a movie that I like. That's like, you know what I mean. In my youth, and things we say now, I used to be that guy. Like, how do you not like this movie that I love? And now I'm just like, all right, you don't like. That's cool, man. Everybody has different.
They don't like
tastes.
Sharknado. I mean,
That's. Some people are right. Some people are right.
People are missing.
Missy's back, by the way. She's been back, but she just hasn't been talking. Just to the listener, because I said that you go to the bathroom.
Yeah, I need to. Yep.
Yep. Cool. Okay. You need a wipe.
Okay. So that's my number 4.
Okay.
So 4s were Rocket Man, Judy, Peanut Butter Falcon, and Rise of Skywalker. 3.
Missy?
My number 3 is Joker.
Table.
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured that was gonna happen. My number 3 is Frozen 2.
Table.
Okay.
My number 3 is Avengers Endgame.
Okay.
Table.
All right. Well, that was easy. Neri, what's your number 3?
It was catching up for the beginning 10 minutes.
Okay. All right. My number 3 is Brittany Runs a Marathon.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't see it.
So fucking good.
Yeah.
Oh my
It's
god!
so fucking
I'm
good.
so happy right now.
It's so good. So I watched this movie. A little bit of back history. I started watching this movie because I was literally at my desk and my kids were watching TV, and I go, all right, I'm at my computer desk, and I was like, I'll just watch something on Amazon. it said, do you want to watch this or whatever? And I was like, oh, I went to go not watch it, but I clicked on late night just to get the people that watched this also watched. So then I went and I clicked on this movie and I go, before I play it, what year did it come out in? Because I'm not going to go through this
You're
shit.
not going to go through the life itself trauma again?
Yeah, for the listeners who don't know, personally, I saw Life Itself. The movie is called Life Itself, and I thought it came out in 2019, and I was like, "This is so on my list. It's on my."
It was like probably in your top 3. I would say
it was so. I wouldn't even know where to rank it, but I know it was gonna be. For a fact, it would be on my list, except for it came out in 2018, and I just didn't know about it until a full year later. So
then I watched it, and Jeff watched it, and it's not good.
Yeah, they don't like it, but they're wrong. It's fine. I'll die in a hill for this fucking movie. I will not die in a hill for any Star Wars movie. I don't give a fuck if you don't like this movie, but I will die in a hill for Life Itself. So just to get back to topic, I watched. So then it said. So yeah, you're gonna love it. Brittany runs a marathon.
It's an HM for me.
It's and then Missy was like, "Oh my god, I've been telling people to watch it and nobody's been paying attention to me." And I'm like, "You've never told me to watch this." She swears that she did, but whatever. She came over my house and she was sitting where she's sitting now at the table. I had my back to her because I'm watching the movie, and every time I'm one of those guys that I'm like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Like I'm like talking to the movie, right? But I'm only doing that because there's nobody else. There's nobody. We're not in the movie theater. So I go, "What the fuck are you doing?" And then Missy would fight me. Like every step of the way, she'd be like, "No, you don't understand. It's because this person." And I'm like, "But I'm not even talking to you. Dude. I'm not talking to the movie. I'm just making an observation." And she just kept
pestering him, but that's because I thought he wanted to have a conversation because he kept talking.
And so I turned around at one point. I paused the movie and I turned around him. And I literally said, "I love you, but I need you to shut the fuck up." I literally said those words. I go, "I need you to shut the fuck up. I need to watch this movie. I just need to watch this movie. Just shut the fuck up. I'm not talking to you. I'm not talking about you. Just let me watch this please." And I had to reiterate, "I love you. Please don't take this wrong, but I just need to shut." And
then I was here for 14 hours after that.
And then I was, but I love this movie so much. It has so much heart. It had, I personally love when they give you a movie that the protagonist is flawed. It doesn't have to be I'm the good guy and everybody else is the bad guy. And the protagonist's flaws are real flaws. These are real flaws that people, I'm not going to genderify, I'm not going to say women, but I'm going to say people have these flaws. And the reasons for these flaws are legit. Speaking as someone in that camp. So I love this movie. I just thought it was fantastic. I would have cried way more had Missy not been
pissed him off already.
No, had Missy not been sitting directly behind me, but I was like I was literally facing the monitor. Missy's behind me, and I'm like literally trying to find ways of cleaning my tears without making notice that I'm cleaning my tears. I was like, yeah, it's whatever if you want to.
So that's why we didn't talk about it. Yeah. Well,
and I didn't want to talk about it because I didn't want to tilt my hand to say it's going to be in my list. I don't like telling anybody what's going to be in my list. Yeah. Unless it's rather obvious. You know what I mean?
I mean, I'm pretty sure I know what your number one.
Yeah, everybody does. Just,
Okay.
So,
it's still you.
Don't shut the fuck up. I don't shut up. That's what I'm saying.
Brittany Runs a Marathon was I found it in a very similar matter, and I really enjoyed it. And the protagonist is very flawed, and she's flawed because she's bitter and she's proud and she's stubborn as fuck, and her coping mechanism is to put brick walls around herself and then still be pissed that nobody will walk through. So I could see myself a little bit in the main character, and
every time I would say something like, "Why are you doing this?" and she thought I was talking to Missy,
and I was
Missy was like, "Well, this is why." I'm like, "I'm not fucking asking you. I'm not really asking you. This isn't a character. This isn't
a rhetorical question." So there's one specific scene, which I won't give you the details of, but it's essentially people are offering to be there for her in a rather exceptional way, and it pisses her off. And that's really fucked up. That's a really fucked up way to be. But the first time that I saw this movie and I saw it happened, I was on her side. I was like, yeah, no, what the fuck? And then it made me think, like, after I was done watching the movie, it made me think, and I'm like, that's shitty. Like, that's a shitty way to react. Like, if I would have project myself in that situation, I'm not gonna remember that. But I'm saying, if I project myself in the situation where I'm surrounded by really great people that are just trying to be there for me, and my knee jerk reaction would be like, I don't fucking need, like, be very proud about it, you know? And that's one of the things that I really enjoyed about this movie, because it's not so much about her losing the weight, which, spoiler, she does. She loses a few pounds. But it's just I think the bigger message in this movie is that, you know, you are in control of all the things that make you miserable, but you're also in control of the good stuff that you leave out.
But what I love is that people think that losing the weight is
The solution.
about losing the weight. And
Yeah,
it's
it's
not
not.
about the losing.
It's
It's
not.
it's
Taking control.
It's taking control. It's people when they lose weight, or when you lose weight, it's not everything's fixed. It's like there are problems that character wise have manifested because of it may have started because of the weight, but now those problems are not fixed due to the weight. It's a whole thing.
I always say, like, when it comes to the topic of weight gain or whatever, is like, and I'm not talking about people who need to lose like 30 pounds or 20 pounds or whatever. I'm talking about people
Life changing, right?
people that have a bigger amount to lose. It's not like nobody likes fries that much. I think it's always been my perspective. So what's going on underneath that has led you to this point? And what this movie really does is really takes you on a journey about the stuff that extent, like, the problem, quote unquote, is the weight gain and that she feels so bad, but that is an extension, that is a result, a manifestation of other stuff that she has to deal with. And it was really good movie.
Fantastic. And it stars the chick from 22 Jump Street.
Oh, Jillian Bell.
Yeah. Which is really great.
I know her from Workaholics. She's there.
Yeah.
She's great in 22 Jump Street.
She's fantastic in 22
She's
Jump
also one of the bad guys in the Green Eggs and Ham show, which is surprisingly fantastic.
Street. Never even heard of that show.
It's on Netflix.
Oh,
They
yeah.
Is it a
basically
kid show?
Yeah,
I'm a fan
they
of hers, so I'll
basically
check it
take
out.
the story of, well, it's her, it's Adam Devine, it's
Workaholics.
Michael Douglas, like, they basically take the story of Green Eggs and Ham, and they like flesh it out into like an 8 or 10-part series. It's really good.
All right, I'll check it out. I'm a fan of her, so I'll check it out. But Brittany Runs a Marathon is
Yay.
my number 3.
I'm glad you liked it, and I'm glad we finally talked about it. It's been 2 weeks.
Thanks for recommending it, Neri.
There you go. For number 3s, we got Joker, Frozen 2, Avengers Endgame, and Brittany Runs a Marathon. So, number 2s.
My number 2 is Frozen 2.
Okay.
No one needs to table it? Cool.
I already do.
No, because we're in the higher numbers now.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Fucking troll.
I don't give a shit. Like,
I don't give a fuck either. Let's die on this hill.
Yeah, we've never even seen.
no.
Yeah, we've never seen. Jeff and I haven't seen the movie, so like you're literally.
Yeah, but
So-
you don't want
I've seen
to see
enough
the
of
movie.
I'll watch. I have no problems in watching Frozen 2. I'm just not gonna pick it over.
his opinion is
other
based
movies.
off of Frozen. I'm talking
Right.
about the sequel.
Yeah.
Jeff has got about 40 minutes into it. He has his issues with it. He doesn't
Anna's
fucking
an
care
idiot.
to finish
Continue.
it.
Go ahead.
First of all,
And
it's Anna.
Oh, okay. Even stupider.
and
Sorry,
How dare you, sir?
Sorry, she's from that part of the world.
so I would say Frozen 2 is, and I know I've said it a lot of times, but now I'm saying it officially, I guess, because it's on our top 10 episode.
It's your number 2.
Frozen 2 is worlds ahead of Frozen. Stop it. From the soundtrack to the actual storyline to the adventure aspect of, because Frozen 1, the adventure is like Anna's going after Elsa, trying to bring her back. This adventure is completely different. It answers so many questions, and it has way more substance than Frozen. And
More than just ice.
yeah,
The substance is not just ice.
it's not just ice.
Snow. Is it snow and ice?
It's not snow and ice. It's actually more all of the elements, if you want to be a nigga about it. But
like fire,
Yeah.
yeah,
earth.
Yeah.
Heart.
No.
It's not the Planeteers.
That I'd see.
Captain Planet. He's our hero.
I love what they did with the song. Fuck the song. That's like could have been a Poison song, but it was
Lost in the Woods.
Lost in the Woods.
There's like 80s power ballad in this movie that is so great.
fantastic. And they knew it. They were very cheeky about it, but it was very like
Very cheeky.
Yeah. What I
mean?
like about
British.
that
Yeah, you're
song,
British.
though, like aside from the fact that it's like 80s power ballad, it could be like a Motley Crue song or a Poison song, whatever. We in a lot of these Disney movies get like the princess like pining over her like love interest. Like we get that song, right? This is Kristoff. Like Kristoff sings this song
He's
about
pining.
like how he's pining and how he loves her so much and he hopes that he's good enough for her, and we don't really see that a lot. So for me, seeing that with Link, seeing that with Link is like, look, it's okay because I feel like men a lot of times are like not encouraged to like.
it introduces emotional intelligence
Correct.
to the Disney
And
world.
I feel like men aren't often encouraged to
Correct.
do that. So
I mean, we're charging after dragons for these bitches. I mean, it's not fucking like that's
Charging
not like,
after dragons.
yeah, like we're literally like going after
when
dragons.
did you go after a dragon
what
for
dragon
Vanessa?
have you slayed, sir?
Excuse me.
You
Have
know
you
he
not
was
met
late to
Vanessa?
open the door.
Have you not met Vanessa?
Dragons take different forms.
Yeah.
Wow.
And also what I like is that the Let It
I guess
Go.
being the provider for a family is not slaying any dragons.
Nope.
Well, whatever. It's fine.
The Let It Go song of this soundtrack is actually weaker than the other big ballad.
Yeah, I was gonna say I will see you're into the unknown and I will raise you. Show yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Classic.
That there's a whole dynamic and a dynamic of and Neri, you know how I feel about this, but of Elsa trying to find the deeper meaning to her relationship with her mother. And
we all know that.
yeah, but we've talked about it a lot because of Brave.
Yeah.
So
Is there a brave moment?
yeah,
Okay.
and it's
It's a bow and arrow.
it's like
Is there a brave moment? There's not a brave moment.
I mean,
She's trying to get to the bottom of her powers.
she's trying to get to the bottom
And
of
by
her powers,
accident.
and by accident
Yeah.
stumbles upon the fact that like
well, don't.
right, exactly.
Right,
I don't
right.
want to spoil it for you guys, but by
But-
accident stumbles upon this whole like revelation
other
of her
plot,
of
yeah.
her mom,
Trust me, I don't care.
and
You've already decided you're gonna fucking hate it, so there's like no point in trying to pitch it
What?
to
Doesn't
you.
that suck when somebody decides before watching
Yeah.
the movie that they're already gonna
Yeah,
hate it
yeah.
and they bitch and complain
I'm
the
only-
entire fucking time they're watching the movie?
and then it
Wow,
ends up
that
on their
sucks.
top 10. What a bitch! I did that. It was me.
anyway. Anyway, this song specifically destroys me every time I hear it because and the scene like destroyed me. Just because of we know why, whatever. So it like touched me on such a deep level that like I can't like.
Did it melt your cold heart?
Shut up. No, I can't. But I can't. Like it just affected me. Like it affected me to my core, and I don't think that I've
Your
had
icy core.
that. I don't think that I've.
Get it? It's frozen. Ice? No? All right.
Chill out.
Chill out. That's good.
Chill.
God, I love that movie.
It's so bad.
So bad.
It's so good.
That's the Elsa I want.
It's. But
It's Arnold
Arnold Schwarzenegger
Schwarzenegger.
as Elsa.
it go. Let it go.
Go.
With the fucking gun. That's what he's like.
He didn't even catch it. They throw him the gun and he doesn't catch it. Anyway, that's another conversation. So
it's fine. I'm done. They ruined it.
castle.
Yeah, I know.
fine, they
I wasn't gonna let you have a
weren't
beautiful
expecting.
moment.
I was, but I've been respectful through their
No,
bullshit.
no, but you know why?
so-
It's because I let her go so much that she thought, oh, I'm gonna get away with this. I'm gonna go and say something touching, and I was like, no, you're not. No, but I knew, but I just let her go.
Oh, interesting.
I let
choice
it
of
go.
words.
Get
Let
it?
it
Because the
go.
first song in the first movie was Let It Go.
It wasn't the first song. It was the
Or one of the
17th song
Yeah.
in the fucking movie. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Is Jesus Christ Superstar all
Yeah.
singing? There's no talking in that one, right? Yeah.
And what I like about the soundtrack.
That's a callback to the previous episode for those of you who are listening to that question.
What I like about the soundtrack, which I know we're not talking about music, but the covers of the songs on the soundtrack, they're really good too.
They did covers.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm asking. I
Yeah,
didn't
they
see
did
the
covers
movie.
of all the big songs.
Disney always, you don't remember the Peebo Bryson Celine Dion cover of Beauty and the Beast? It's like that.
Okay.
What?
The
Talk slower.
Peebo Bryson Celine Dion cover of Beauty and the Beast that they did for the movie years ago.
The 1991 animated film, the song in the ballroom. That's what she's talking about.
Yeah.
Oh,
But all
that
of
was Celine Dion?
Yeah.
Stop. You just
No, I thought that was whatever O'Hara, whatever the fuck her name is.
Paige O'Hara does it in the movie.
Okay.
But and actually Paige O'Hara doesn't do it. Angela
Angela, that's what I meant.
Murder, She Wrote.
Murder, She
Angela
Wrote.
Lansbury.
Angela Lansbury.
She was about to say Angela Bassett.
How Bella got her broom grab.
But not that one.
How Belle got her groove back.
No, not that one. No,
so-
but there's like the pop version. Disney always contracts like artists to do like a pop version.
I didn't know that was a thing.
All of them have.
Really? I didn't know. I never heard a Celine Dion version of Beauty and the Beast. I'm a huge fan of Beauty and the Beast.
I think you may have, but you just didn't
Yeah,
know.
I just don't
you
think you
just
know
probably
it's
assumed that
her.
it was the voice
Listen,
actress.
I could pretty much guarantee you I could tell the difference between Celine Dion and Angela Bassett.
Okay.
So trust me, Angela Bassett has more soul. She cries throughout the whole movie.
Wow.
Throughout the
And
whole
lights
song.
Cars on Fire.
Angela Bassett cries in every fucking movie she's in. So I'm not. That's
She's
not
an
even.
amazing actress.
Is that what makes you amazing?
No.
That's what does it. All right. Cool. All right.
So, anyways, that was my number 2.
That was a great scene, but can you cry?
Not on cue.
All right. So, Frozen 2.
Frozen 2 is my number 2.
All right. Missy. Let me see.
Estefany.
Stephanie.
My number 2 is the Feo Popes.
The Fail Pops.
Abel.
Okay.
Really? Interesting.
Jeffrey.
All right. My number 2 is the movie that I bought on iTunes recently, Parasite. It's a Korean film. It's up for a bunch of awards.
I'm very, very surprised at your list. Only in that fact that it didn't have the movie Us. I thought for sure you would have the
I
movie Us.
didn't like it as much.
I liked it a
didn't like that
lot.
movie at all.
I liked it a lot,
No,
but
the soundtrack.
Oh, that was great.
I liked that movie a lot.
Wait, you didn't like Us? You liked it.
I did.
You didn't.
I didn't hate
You're
it.
like on
but
the-
it was
you're like, meh.
I liked Ready or as when I was doing horror. I liked like Ready or Not more.
Right.
Yeah, I liked
here's the
Dr.
thing.
Sleep more.
So when I mentioned this to Steph that Parasite is not a horror movie.
I thought it was.
It seems like it's built to be one, but it's more of a thriller than a horror movie. This is also the reason why I didn't put Joker on my list, because this is also a movie about class systems and the people being neglected and stuff like that. And I think this did it better. So I picked one. I didn't want to have two of the same type
subtitles,
of
right?
movie. Subtitles, yeah. Sorry, I tried to see if it was.
Yeah, Neri's not
I did
watching.
not do it better. I did not do it better.
So the basic idea of it, and it's cool because it's about 2 hours and 15 minutes, and the first hour is a completely different movie than the last hour and 15 minutes.
I've seen porn like that. It's so real.
There's
Like,
no
it's-
porn movie that's an hour and 15 minutes.
No, but
Pirates.
it starts off as the guy delivering pizza, and then it finishes totally different than what you think it's
than
gonna. Like,
what you
what
think
the
they're-
fuck?
They never eat the pizza.
Yeah, they
Kim
never.
Kardashian
Yeah,
had a
pizza gets
comeback
cold.
in the video. She has come on her back.
Yeah, that's the best. So I'm not going to say too much about it, but basically the idea with Parasite is you follow a family of con artists. It's a mom and dad and their son and daughter.
Okay.
They live in this very poor, and there's a lot of visual representations. They live in this poor neighborhood in South Korea. And they live in this like apartment, and the director he's done horror movies before.
He lives in a poor part of South Korea called South Korea.
that no, he doesn't live where like BTS and those people live.
Okay.
So they live in this
Korea.
apartment that's partially above ground, partially not. So it's kind of like they see what could be, but they're living underground, like their toilets. It's weird. Like you'll see it, but if you ever watch the movie. But basically what happens is that the son gets asked by a friend to cover for him as a tutor for this wealthy family to teach their daughter English. The son goes in and then realizes that the family is really kind of gullible, and that the son needs art therapy. So he makes his sister Google art therapy and look up stuff, and recommends that he knows somebody because he gets in with the family. And it's slowly the entire family eventually ends up becoming somebody within that household to help this family out. They used to do odds and ends, and like they were stacked. They were like work for a pizza company that they would build pizza boxes, and then they figured out these jobs. Like the dad becomes a driver, the mom becomes the maid at the house, and the whole movie's them. That first part, it's just them being con artists and pretending to be people that they're not really, to make money and get a steady paycheck. Then something happens halfway through, which I don't want to say because it's kind of a big reveal. That then
They walk through a forest and get to China.
Yeah. And then the last half of the movie, it becomes this totally different thing that you see the class system start to peek its head. And like it's really cool. It's hard to explain without spoiling, so I don't want to say too much.
How long is the movie?
It's like 2 hours and 10 minutes. It's on.
And it's produced by. It's
Korean.
It's a Korean movie.
Korean.
But the guy's like nominated for best director.
Yeah, then it's best picture,
gotten
everything
a lot
like
of
that.
yeah
accolades.
It's very much about class and the poor versus the wealthy and what people see and it's I really dug it. Like I really like the movie, and for me it's a 2 hour and 15-minute movie that I had to read in subtitles, yes, Mary. But I actually thoroughly enjoyed it. Like I'd watch it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you watch a lot of Korean movies.
I do. But yeah, so
It's his niche.
Yeah.
I recommend Parasite.
Very interesting. So it's not really like
Korean movies is to Jeffrey what 1927 movies is to Dave.
I'd watch
That was a good analogy.
I'd watch a
good
Korean-
SAT prep.
Yeah, I'd watch Korean
Korea
movies.
has some
so.
great movies, man.
I'm not saying they don't,
Train
but
to
they're all in
Busan was another
Korean.
one.
But
The problem with Korean movies is they're all in Korean. That's the fucking problem. Speak
it's-
English,
They
motherfuckers.
make fun of Kim Jong in this too. Like one of the characters starts doing like an impression.
well,
of Kim Jong.
they can't go back.
Oh, that's it. They're dead.
So
Yeah.
They just want the Oscar. They're going to be dead for it, but they want the Oscar. That's fine.
so it's more of a psychological thriller than a horror.
It's not horror at all, I would say. There's violence in it eventually,
Yeah.
but even then it's
Well, yeah,
compared
Joker's not a horror movie, and it has a lot of psychological
Yeah.
aspects to it. And
I just like with me because Joker, I kind of knew what I was getting into. This one I didn't. And
It's like me and
Joker's more of the
Cats.
mental, like the psychological issues and mental health and stuff like that. Is this one's
Deterioration.
more just class in general.
all right.
But yeah, I recommend it. It's called Parasite.
that's your number two.
Yep.
Very good. Very good.
My number two is Avengers Endgame.
Okay, so we can talk about it now.
There you go.
Woohoo!
Talk about fan cert. No, I'm just kidding.
Answer. It's I rewatched the movie yesterday just because it had been so long since I've seen the movie because it came out early in the year.
And Oliver kind of.
Oliver forced me to. But
Yes, he forced you.
I
Oh,
watched the movie and it was really. It's such. Like I honestly thought that I watched it to see where I was going to place it on my list because it sat at number 2 for months. It was my number 1 for a while, and then my number 1 came out, and I was like, all right, this Avengers is number 2, and it sat at number 2 for a while. So when I was doing the ranking yesterday, I was like, let's go back and watch Avengers to see, because it's the movie. Aside from my number 1, Avengers is the oldest movie. Oldest meaning it came out earliest on my list, and I go, let me go back to see the movie because I want to see, compare it to newer movies that I've seen or whatever. And fuck, it was still so good. I mean, the chills are still there in the moments. The beats are still great. The beats still hit the same. And I watched it, I think 3 times in theaters, and like 3 times. This is probably the 4th time I've seen it at home, which is, I'm not bragging because there are guys like Kevin Smith who's watched this movie like 87 times, like from front to end. Which is,
I've seen it about 12 maybe.
yeah. I fucking just loved it. Everything about this movie, I thought it was a perfect movie. I thought everything was just so fucking good.
It's a movie that I've watched on loop and I never get tired of it.
So good.
It tugs at everything. The action those scenes like when Cap gets Mjolnir, everybody just lost their mind. Like
I still smirked. I found myself smirking. Like, yeah, here we go.
Yeah, and then you have like Tony Stark and his relationship with his daughter and everything that happens in that you're
Morgana.
It was my number 3. I haven't gotten tired of rewatching it, and I've probably seen it 11 or 12 times.
We
already.
put it on to test the soundbar that you gave us.
But
we only put it on like from on your left on.
Oh, okay.
So
But I mean, I'll rewatch the fights, that last scene on YouTube. If I'm bored.
That movie, I haven't seen it as many times as you guys, but it's a movie that I know for sure is gonna rank always. Like, that movie was gonna rank no matter what. There was no better way to say it other than it was a very satisfying ending to that chapter of the franchise. So, I mean, we've done spoiler.
Yeah, we did a
episode
spoiler
already,
special.
so
We talked about it. Nothing. I was gonna say there's nothing I'm gonna say
new,
now
yeah.
that
we haven't already said.
The only thing I'm gonna say that I said now that's relatively new is like it's still really good.
Yeah.
I just added the word "still." It's still exactly how I felt about it before. It still works.
It's almost a year later, and you're like, update. It's still very, very
Yeah.
good.
I still feel exactly the way I felt about it before.
Yeah.
So that's the only word. The only thing I'm adding now is the word "still."
And
That's
that
it.
we had to rank it,
Yeah.
but that's it. Yeah.
So that's my number 2. So the number 2s are Frozen 2, The Failed Popes, Parasite, and Avengers Endgame. Really quick, let's go through some
Honorable mentions.
Just spit them out. So
already out of the 5, we've already talked about 3. The 2 we haven't talked about was 6 Underground. That was one of them, which was a Michael Bay Netflix movie, which was so much fun to watch.
that was my number 10 that got bumped down because
Of
this
Failed Popes?
motherfucker makes me watch Failed Popes, and so I was like, all right, I guess.
also told you
There
to
was
watch
no
Failed Popes.
way I could, in my mind, justify putting Michael Bay-iest movie above Failed Popes. There's no way I could be like, no, but I was trying to. I was like, you know why? Because I could rewatch 6 Underground, and I'm just really like and we'll talk about this later, but I'm just not gonna rewatch Failed Popes. But will rewatch
6 Underground.
6 Underground again. That action movie. Have you seen it?
I saw half of it and I fell asleep.
It is the most actiony. Like, I was like, holy fuck. And I will say, for the first half an hour, I was like,
The car scene, the
like,
first
it was
car
a
chase.
lot. Like, it was a lot to take in. I'm like, Jesus Christ, guy, calm down. Like, just slow it down. You know what it reminded me of? You know what it reminded me of? Of the Meet the Robinsons. Well, you know that where it goes really fast? I'm like, slow it down. I need to catch, my brain needs to catch up with what the fuck is happening here. And then when it does slow down and then the actual plot arises, you go, oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it works.
Continue
Yeah.
continue your action, Michael Bay.
So by the way, I watched it and I put my movie review on WuBro, which I called it the Michael Bay-iest Michael Bay movie of all time. Then I jumped on YouTube and watched Ryan Reynolds promoting it on Jimmy Fallon, and when the movie came up, he goes, "It's the most Michael Bay-iest movie of all time." And then,
legitimately did not see that post that she posted on WuBro, right? And I saw the movie like a week later or whatever, however long ago after she posted that. And then as I'm watching it, I didn't know it was directed by Michael Bay. And as I'm watching, I go, fuck, this is Michael Bay as fuck. Like, this is the Michael Bay-iest movie ever, dude. I'm like, holy shit. And then when it said directed, and then at the end when it said directed by Michael Bay, I'm like, yeah, no, this is definitely it.
It is his brand.
That is his brand.
I want to watch it. I mean, I liked it. I was just really tired when I started watching it.
Actually, he picked it. I was at his house and he picked it, and then me and Christy stayed up for the entire movie, and he was knocked the fuck
My
out.
new couch is comfortable as fuck.
It is.
So if you put me
Hey, trust me, dude.
So, my other honorable mention that we haven't mentioned is Beyonce's Homecoming.
I'm shocked.
And
I'm shocked it didn't make the top 10.
yeah.
Are we doing worse movies now?
Okay,
No,
well, I
we
guess
already talked about cats, Jeff.
Oh, okay.
that's it for that. Next.
Speaking of cats, she was not.
What do you got for honorable? What do you got for honorable mentions?
Captain Marvel, Isn't It Romantic, which barely does just not makes my list. It's if you're into rom-coms, BFF, I know that you'll like this movie. It like kind of it's a rom-com that makes fun of rom-coms.
Right.
So, but it's very cute and it's very cheeky. I really liked it. Us, Aladdin, and Lady and the Tramp.
Aladdin was so good.
Aladdin was really good.
So that's my favorite live
I'm
action.
surprised
Disney
you guys
movie.
didn't have more live action movies on
Because they weren't that good.
Disney live
Aladdin was the only one that was good this year.
I've watched 0 of them.
I
so
liked
don't know
Lady
what
and the
fuck's
Tramp a
going on.
lot. There were a lot of ones that were in content. I know that
That
you
were
didn't like
contenders.
them.
Lady in the Tramp, because I loved the animated one so
why I
much
won't
that I'm
watch
just
it.
like,
That's why I won't watch it.
All right, we heard you. You
Jesus Christ.
you literally said it. Nobody questioned you, and you go, "That's why." I'm like, "Oh, nobody's questioning
If
you."
they would have had a good Jafar, Aladdin would have for sure made a list.
You're right. I could see that. But that was legitimately
Like
good.
if it would have been the guy that played him on Once Upon a Time, which was Saeed from Lost, like I would have been in.
They were Jafar from getting the right choice.
Wow.
Thank you.
But
And good night.
All right, Jeffrey, what do you got for honorable
So
mentions?
you guys had mentioned some of these already, so I'm not going to mention them. I'm going to put Midsummer. Like I said, even though it wasn't 100% my cup of tea, I did dig it because it was very uncomfortable. Crawl, the
Yeah, I have it and I haven't seen it yet. but I wanna
that's
see it.
the Sam Raimi one with the alligator in the basement that doesn't exist in Florida. That it's during a hurricane.
That's just life.
It was
here. I mean,
yeah, but no, but
does it-
the house had a basement and they're in Florida.
Oh no, that's not
Yeah.
real. Okay,
Right.
that's not
Yeah.
the real thing.
So it's fiction, clearly.
Right.
But it's
We're below
actually
sea
more
level
than
here.
just
We
yeah.
can't.
It's more than just a girl getting chased by an alligator. There's actually like a story to it. which
There's
is
like a mutant alligator. I don't know if you're. That's the part you're
Killer
worried.
Croc?
Yeah, there's like the part you're worried about is the basement in the floor.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
There's a movie called
well, because they can't have a mutant alligator without the basement.
That's not true.
alligator.
That's not true. The raptor can't be a fucking pastor. Like that's the part we're worried about.
It's literally just an alligator.
Okay.
It's not even a mutant alligator.
Okay.
Oh, well.
Then there was a Netflix movie called Rattlesnake that came out.
Never heard of it.
That was really cool. Like basically a woman's kid gets bit by a rattlesnake on the side of the road. A mysterious stranger saves the kid, but says in order for your kid to stay safe, you have to go kill somebody.
What movie was that?
It's called Rattlesnake.
No, wait. That seems so fucking familiar. I saw that movie.
Was it called Rattlesnake?
Hold on, dude. Who was it with?
And it's just some random lady. It's not anybody that I recognized. But anyway, so while he's looking up whatever he's looking up, my last one, I'm actually going to throw it out there because I fucking enjoyed the shit out of the movie, was The Beach Bum with Matthew McConaughey.
Was she in the when she takes her daughter to the hospital?
She goes to the hospital,
And then she gets cured. And
but
then the
she's
guy
still in the hospital, and the guy comes to the hospital.
Yeah. So I didn't finish watching that movie because of just I don't know what happened. I think that I had to go pick up the kids, and kids ruin everything. And then, but that movie was fucking from like the 40 minutes that I saw was great. Where she went back to the trailer, and the trailer wasn't there.
And then there's a guy in the hospital room next to her that's dying.
Yeah.
and she's trying to figure out maybe I can just finish him off.
I didn't get to that part, so don't spoil it.
And then what I was saying was The Beach Bum with Matthew McConaughey. It's ridiculous, but it's fucking Matthew McConaughey being Matthew McConaughey.
Right.
Like he's a writer that's living in the Keys, writing his next book that he became a multi-millionaire from self-help books. And like Snoop Dogg's his best friend.
Is this a Prime movie?
No, it came out in the theaters. I think I saw it on a site that's no longer existing.
YouPorn is still up?
And then I know. And then it's got Sacha Baron Cohen's wife in it.
Oh, Isla Fisher.
She plays his wife, but she's sleeping with Snoop Dogg. But they kind of
Nice.
Carmen Yogo is in Rattlesnake. She's in Fantastic Beasts. She's in Selma.
It's
Who
basically
is she in Fantastic Beasts?
the girl from the movie.
Yeah, she is Safina Piquiri. Serafina.
But he's basically his character from Dazed and Confused
Okay.
was
He's Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
he's just Matthew McConaughey.
got
That's all
it.
you need.
But it was ridiculous. It's not great, but you should watch it because I enjoyed it.
All
Looks
right.
like fun.
My honorable mentions, most of them have already been talked about. Just to give you my honorable mentions
Joker.
list is Alita, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Late Night, Shazam, Captain Marvel, Life Itself. Shut up, I know. And it came out 2018.
count.
I get it, but it's an honorable mention because
wants to
people
fucking
should watch
mention
it. People should watch it. Okay, people should watch
I
it.
love Shazam.
Shazam
Should
was
people
great.
watch it though?
Should watch it. And then the only one that hasn't been spoken of yet is Godzilla, King of Monsters.
Oh, great movie.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Great movie.
Love that movie. So that's the honorable mentions. So we're at number ones now.
Round one. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back.
Do it. Do it. Come on. Come on.
All right, number one.
Well, it's hard to follow that intro, but I'm gonna try.
Headphones on, so.
Yeah.
My number one this year is Honey Boy. So Honey Boy is the second the second independent movie that Shia LaBeouf was in this year.
Or the second movie that Shia LaBeouf was in.
This year. Yeah, I don't think independent wasn't necessary. You're right. So what this movie is about, to oversimplify it, it's he has a complicated relationship with his father.
It's based on his actual growing up.
So it's based off of the when he had his breakdown a couple of years ago, that they ended up sending him to a mental institution to figure everything out. He got diagnosed with PTSD, and part of his therapy,
Shia LaBeouf. Real life Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah.
No, I'm just making sure to the listener.
Yeah, but all of this is incorporated, and the movie incorporates all of these plot points, and so it does a lot of sequence jumps. It's not told,
Tarantino's this shit, man.
Yeah, and
I don't know what you speak of. Tarantino does time jumps. That's not a thing.
So I really enjoyed this movie because I think I mentioned this to you, Neri, a couple of days ago. Was like relationships, complicated relationships, or stories about complicated relationships between parent and kid, like always hit me really hard. And this movie was a limited release, so you had to look, go find a theater that was running it, and I think it was like one of 6 people in the theater. But I'm like, he did such a good job, is what I'm trying to say. Like a couple of years ago, I remember when we were doing one of these the top 10s, we were talking about, I was talking about Split. What's his name? The guy from Split, James McAvoy. And that we
call him Professor, right?
So James, in a similar way of how I described how impressed I was with his range, and the intensity of his performance. Right. It's how I felt about Shia LaBeouf in this movie. He plays his dad, actually, and he casts a kid, because so the movie takes place in 3 periods. It's a chunk of it is when he's dealing with his PTSD. A chunk of it is his spiral, and then but the larger chunk is when he was a kid on Even Stevens. Yeah. And that entire relationship, it's complicated, it's heavy, but it's also, I kind of think that it's not a downer movie. I didn't walk away feeling like it was it was kind of a love letter. You see the journey of this kid going, like this person going from a kid who just wants his parent to an adult who can look at his father as a man and have empathy for him and forgive, and all of the shit that you have to do if you have a complicated issue with a parent. And I cannot rave enough about his performance, and I'm terrible with names, so I apologize, but about the other 2 kids that play him.
Mm-hmm. And what Shia LaBeouf said about the kid who played him as a kid, he said he's far more talented than me, like hands down. Like he's like, this kid is wanted to see it. He's like, I felt bad because he said, I felt bad because I was playing my father and this guy was playing me, and I was like, no, you're doing it way better than I did it. That's way better than that.
And they're the scenes together with that specific the younger version of him are just so powerful. Like they're both so fucking talented, and it really.
Jimmy Kimmel asked him, he goes, "Did your father have any feels about this? Whatever."
Well, he had to lie to him.
He did. He told him his dad. He goes, "No, his dad. You're gonna be played by Mel Gibson." He goes, and his dad was like, "Oh, Mel Gibson. Yeah, no, I like him. Yeah, I'll sign." And he literally signed papers to say that he's all right. And then he's like, "I kind of fucking lied to him."
So. And I can't rave enough about this movie. It'll be streaming on. It was a Prime produced, Amazon produced movie, so it's gonna stream in a couple of weeks on Prime, so you guys can check it out if you want to. But I'm really disappointed that it's not getting more accolades than it has, because it's gotten a lot of accolades in like the independent circuit, but not in the bigger awards. And I really was hoping that it would be like a one of those,
but I think it's more
out of nowhere.
I think it's more of because of Shia burning bridges when he went through his spiral.
Yeah, well,
he burned a lot of
yeah, well, he has
professional
a lot.
Bridges.
He has to figure that out. But I mean,
he has a lot to atone for, man.
But he's got a lot. Like he did a roundtable recently with the Hollywood Reporter, and it was like Tom Hanks and Robert De Niro, and a bunch of other really heavy hitters, and they're all they were all showing him mad respect for the movie. And he was very honest about his, past, and he's had beef with Tom Hardy because on Lawless, apparently they
actually fought.
Yeah, they actually fought, and he says that he mentioned it in the Hollywood Reporter. This has nothing to do with the movie, but he mentioned that Tom Hardy is very territorial. So like it's his phrasing was like it's his yard, and he makes sure to let you know that you're in his yard, kind of deal. So I'm sure he has a lot of professional bridges to mend, but as far as his performance,
I only said that to say maybe that's why he's not getting. Maybe that's why the movie's 100%. Not getting.
I hope that this is like a stepping stone to where he's offered more, like a bigger platform to tell stories. But I was just blown out of the water, and I've never really followed his career the way I do other actors. I never watched Even Stevens.
Oh yeah, he has a penis. You wouldn't follow his career like that.
And I was into the Transformer movies, like the first one, but the rest of them weren't so well. So I don't know. I was very pleasantly surprised, and I'm really glad that I went out of my way to watch it.
Go watch Fury.
Yeah, he's really good in Fury.
The whole movie's amazing, but he's really good in Fury.
Okay.
Go watch Fury.
I want to see Honey Boy. I can't wait till it comes.
Yeah, I want to see it too. Again, my traveling
and
my schedule is really busy.
I mean,
well, yeah, they can say cheeky. I can't say schedule.
You said mate earlier, so
well, that's because I was there.
It was just very emotional experience, but it was like a good cry. I guess it's like the same thing you're saying about you, Neri, specifically, who enjoyed Life Itself. That was like a good cry, and this was a good cry, even though it's a really heavy subject.
There are cries that come from tragedy, but ultimately it's a good, like, you have to go through tragedy to come out
and it's really such a, like, it's from Even Stevens to, I think, because part of his therapy was to reconnect with his father and kind of mend fences there, because he had not talked to him for I think 6 or 7 years, and those are the bookends of the story. It's like the movie ends on a very good.
I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Like, no, so that's why I like Honey Boy. So that's my number one.
All right.
My number one is Rocket Man. It's been my number one since I saw it. Nothing else has. I've liked other things, but I haven't liked anything else as much as I like this.
It's such a
did you not
great fucking movie.
Did you not mind the historical inaccuracies?
I mean, whatever.
They didn't sing in the street.
I don't look.
Because you have an issue. No, we've talked in this conversation.
No,
like you talked about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I'm not making fun of you. I'm asking you an honest question.
I'm asking, and I'm going to answer you honestly.
You rolled your eyes at me, and
when I've had issues with this in the past, it's because the people that are portrayed or like descendants of or whatever are not approved of, or don't approve it or have issues with it. This was produced and partially funded and whatever by Elton John. He was involved in this.
But the people from the Queen,
Bohemian Rhapsody,
they were okay with all the changes that they made.
But Freddie Mercury and his family were not. And
Freddie Mercury's dead.
I understand, but I'm saying like the estate, like the family, like that.
They weren't okay with that because the band was.
Not. But the band, he had issues with the band. Like they did not end on good terms. Like when
they did.
No, before Live Aid.
Live Aid.
But Live Aid,
they were broken up for Live Aid.
No,
but the movie talked about that.
No, they weren't.
That's part of what's wrong.
They had already been back together. The difference, the historical inaccuracy in Bohemian Rhapsody in the Live Aid scene is that it makes it the movie makes it seem that they got back together and then they did Live Aid. But by the time that in real life, when they did Live Aid, they'd already been back together, even released music before that. That's it. That's the difference. So I don't see how.
They had also portrayed like they got back together not only for Live Aid, but they got back together because he had AIDS.
But for the purposes
That's not the way they portrayed them. I didn't see that way.
He makes the announcement like as they're going on stage for Live Aid.
No, when they're in the movie, it's in rehearsals.
Freddie wasn't diagnosed as HIV positive before Live Aid.
Yeah, exactly. And he didn't even know. In the movie, he tells them right before they go on stage.
So they just jumped.
No, it wasn't before they went on stage. It was
when they were doing rehearsals.
Yeah.
And he didn't find out he was diagnosed like 2 or 3 years later or something.
So why is that important?
But why does that bother you so much?
Because it just does.
So, but the historical inaccuracies in Rocket Man.
So what are the historical?
I don't know that there are historical inaccuracies in Rocket Man because I mean,
he comes out in a peacock suit, and he didn't come out in a peacock suit.
Oh.
He came out in a different bird.
Got it.
So this was
different.
my. I think it was in my
I haven't
top.
even fucking seen the movie.
4, I think.
haven't
It's my
even
number
seen-
4.
No, I haven't seen the
So
movie.
did you see the movie, Jeffrey?
Yeah.
Okay. So what
I
I
saw it
like.
at SuperCon weekend, remember?
Yeah, I remember
yeah.
when we walked into his hotel room, he had it on.
So what I liked about this movie and where Bohemian Rhapsody was kind of like a movie,
It was very serious.
but it was a movie and then the music was under it. This was a very across the universe type of vibe
That's
to
exactly how I would describe it.
it. And have you seen Across? No. Okay.
Have you seen Across the Universe?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I live with Christy. Of course, I've seen Across the Universe.
so across the
Is this Disney Presents Across the Universe?
No. So again, going back to the stuff that I liked about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, where they really pan out and give you an overview of the time period. They did a good job about that. I think.
What she means by Across the Universe, so Across the Universe used the music of the Beatles to tell a story.
Right.
It wasn't just like the underlying, like it was in the background, like as things are happening.
So it was a musical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of musical.
No, not there's a music in it. Like Bohemian Rhapsody has music in it, but
Right.
it's not
No,
a
there's a
musical.
musical.
Right.
This is a
This is a
musical.
musical. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
They
didn't know that.
perform in the streets.
Yeah, yeah,
in the
yeah,
opening
yeah.
Number like.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
didn't really happen in real life.
So
Historically inaccurate.
I think Elton John went out of his way to cast Taron.
He did.
Taron.
Well,
Egerton.
him and Taron have worked together before in the past,
And Kingsman.
Not only in Kingsman, but in the movie Sing, Taron plays the gorilla. He
He sings "I'm Still Standing."
I'm Still Standing.
Yeah.
I learned about the song "I'm
Were you
Still
today
Standing"
years old?
from Sing.
Stop.
I swear to the Lord, I literally was like, "This song is amazing," and
This is amazing.
I got no. I didn't even say I wonder who sings it. I got the Sing soundtrack, and we would play it in the car for the kids, quote unquote, for the kids. And I'm like, this is my favorite fucking song. And then literally in the Sing soundtrack, it gives you the song sang by the actors as they were sung by the actors in the movie, and then it gives you the real versions in the same album. And then it was like Elton John, I'm Still Standing, and I was like, nah, but. That's Elton? Okay, cool. But Edgar did it way better, so I'm gonna go with that version. I just like that version,
Right.
and then that's how I found out about that
But yeah,
song.
he
I didn't know.
was Elton John's like handpicked choice.
So then after that, they did Kingsman together. So they already had
And
a
then
relationship.
they had a working relationship. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I think that the casting of the this movie was
Bryce Dallas Howard
exceptional.
plays his mom.
Oh yeah.
Such a cunt.
Yeah. And then a little Bohemian Rhapsody connection. The character that Richard Madden
Yeah.
plays is the same character that Littlefinger played.
Yeah.
It's that same dude.
They said that they wanted to cast Littlefinger, but they didn't want that.
His throat was slit, so he couldn't.
But they didn't want to do that. They
Right.
didn't want people to be like, "Oh, this
It
is
was a
the
shared
same." Yeah,
universe
they didn't
or-
want
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
But there was talk of like, "Oh, he did,"
Yeah.
and then he didn't do
You
it.
see that sucks because in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the guy who played Charles Manson played him in Mindhunters on Netflix also.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
He
I
played
didn't know
Manson
that.
in both.
Interesting. We also got a really hot makeout
oh my,
scene.
yeah! I wanted to.
Oh, that-
I wanted to
dude,
talk about
that-
that.
that scene was hot.
I've never
What movie?
been
In
Rocket
Rocket
Man.
Man.
Oh, they
I've
said
never
Mindhunter. I was like, what?
been one of these girls that what's the way to put this?
Found somebody attractive.
I've never been one of these people that is specifically attracted towards, and this is I'm trying to not make this.
Heterosexual sex.
I'm
Just
not-
say that you support the spectrum, bitch.
I
You're
do
saying
support-
it 47 words.
I
Just
do
say it.
support the
There's no
spectrum. I
judging
don't want
here.
it to
Okay,
say
there's judging.
homophobic. Is what I don't want it to sound homophobic. I've never been like somebody that gets like turned on by like gay love scenes, men, women, whatever.
Oh, does lesbian count as gay?
Yeah.
Oh, then never mind.
Yeah, I can't agree. With
I can't agree with you on that one. I'm like, yeah, I don't like gay kissing. Oh wait, lesbian kissing? No, that's cool. That's cool. Cool.
The love scene between him and Richard Madden is so fucking hot that I had a moment where I was like, guys,
It got sold a little higher to me than what it really was.
Well, because Chris
But
does he-
really
wait.
likes
Now here's my question to you, as someone who hasn't seen the movie, and this is just speaking about that.
Yes, I'll watch it
does
with
somebody spit in their hand and rub their dick before sticking in the asshole? Because that's the way I see. I mean, Brokeback Mountain did it, and I can't. How are you gonna come back from that? Like you got. That's where you got to go.
That is great.
You know what I learned about this movie?
That is awesome.
I didn't know, and as an Elton John fan, I didn't know that he didn't write his like that. I didn't know that. I thought it was all him. So I guess I'm not that good of a fan. But I didn't know.
Did you know that Elton John's name, that he picked Elton John's?
Yeah, because it
Based on John
starts in
Lennon.
his childhood.
That is actually incorrect. I was just looking at the inaccuracies from the movie. He did not name it after John Lennon. He named it after a local rock musician from the city. I'll read it right now.
But isn't that a scene in the movie where he goes, "But my name's Elton John"? And he goes, "I know."
Yeah, but the John didn't
And he
come
stole
from John
it. Like he
Lennon.
just stole that name.
It came from Long John Baldry, a mainstay of the 1960s London
He wasn't
rock
part
scene.
of that band.
That's okay.
I
You
think
can
that
finish.
was part of the.
No, it's all right. But apparently
It's
it
getting
wasn't John
late.
Lennon.
It's getting late.
Whatever.
Both of you are very upset.
Why?
You, because you just found out that it wasn't after Elton. It wasn't.
But he doesn't say
I don't
that.
care.
He doesn't say that in the movie.
But you felt like you look like you're upset. He goes, "Oh no, that's incorrect," and then
It was
you just
something
look like
because
you.
When I look at the
No, I'm
inaccuracy
just
thing, it goes,
looking at
he
it.
didn't get his last name.
Yeah,
No,
but
no,
I
you
don't-
go. You go.
I don't remember. But I know that he wasn't in that band that he stole the
Right.
guy's name. He
Right.
wasn't in that band. He was friends with them, but he wasn't ever like part of it.
Part of it.
That was one of the things that was
Historically
like, not
inaccurate?
whatever.
I like the fact that you are so like you don't want to even say that it's historically inaccurate because you love the movie so much. But when it's another movie that you don't mind trashing the historical accuracies. Again, you're speaking to somebody. I don't give a fuck. I watch a movie and go. I read up on it to see how close it was. But even if it wasn't close, I'm like, it's still great. I don't care. Like I don't like it less.
I wonder why they changed that though. That's interesting.
I don't know. I don't know. I really.
This is like that Dave Chappelle skit. Did you ever see the Dave Chappelle skit on the Chappelle show, where he talked about Antoine Fisher, and the movie Antoine Fisher was written by Antoine Fisher, and he goes, "Man, I can't write my own story. I would embellish too much." And he talks about like and they show him being born, and the baby has a huge dick, huge, like it's so massive, and they're like, "That's my boy," and it's like that's like talent. Like the fact that you like this movie because and you're okay
I
with
like
it,
despite
because of Elton John being attached to it. I'm like, that should give it less credibility. Because we're always gonna embellish our own shit, like we're all, you know what I mean? Like we're always gonna be like, we're always gonna be born with a huge dick. Like this is, to make yourself look better in a better light. Isn't that really like the way it is? Like that's, again, this goes back to like Saving Mr. Banks, where I'm like, I don't appreciate the fact that they made him look better than he really is. Than Walt Disney, like, and I'm a fan of Walt Disney, but you were a dick. Like you didn't.
I don't think that he went out of his way to like portray himself super positive.
Again, I didn't see this movie. I'm just asking.
Right. It really does like lay into his substance abuse issues. In fact, the movie starts off with him in rehab, and then like Tarantino's back to when he's a kid. So I
like that. That's a verb.
So and it goes up to until the filming of the I'm Still Standing video is where it ends. So I don't think that he really does a whole lot of it. Maybe he does, but I mean
we don't know.
We don't know, but he definitely like tackles like his substance abuse, his drug addictions, his alcohol abuse, his
complicated issue with his parents.
Yeah.
That was so
It was a great movie. It was an honorable mention for me.
Yeah. There's the I Need Love song in the beginning. It's hard for me to watch it and not get like emotional about it because it's so that song was recorded and released like decades after that, obviously after he was a child, and but the fact that they were able to work it into to perfectly paint a picture of what was like being in that house was genius. So
I look forward to watching it. I've been wanting to watch it. I just honestly I didn't want to watch it without Vanessa, and I've been traveling so much that it makes that hard. All right, now we can talk about the two failed popes.
Yep, my number one's the two popes. Steph had watched it and had told me, "Hey, you should watch this."
When I texted you guys to watch it, I was only 30 minutes in.
I was already gonna watch the movie. But I was already gonna watch this movie. Like you texted that, and then Jeff was like, "Dude, you gotta watch this movie." I'm like, "I know, like I've been wanting to." He said, "No, but you don't understand." I go, "No, you don't understand. I've been wanting to. I'm already sold. You don't have to keep sitting on." But it's it's your number one. So talk about it.
Yeah. This is a movie that it's simplistic in the fact that it's just literally the relationship of these two popes, a cardinal and a pope. eventually Pope. Spoiler alert: he's the current Pope.
He's slapping bitches' hands and shit.
What I love, what I love though, is
That's the only thing I kept thinking about.
that. I
That's
was
the
watching
only
this
thing I keep
movie
thinking
and I was
about
watching
the whole time. And there's some sad, and there's some sad
just
shit.
happened. How
Yeah,
did I forget?
there's some sad shit, and like when you see his internal struggle, I'm like, this is beautiful. But you do slap women's hands though, for real though. You do that shit for real as a Pope. So that ain't no.
Because he's a fucking
I'm not
baller.
saying she didn't deserve it, but then again, if as a man says she deserves it, oh, that's fucked up. But sometimes bitches be deserving this shit. I don't know what to
so
tell you.
Jonathan Pryce, like he was amazing, and I looked it up after because I'd mentioned to Steph, I was like, wow, did they do a dub? For
I
his,
thought
like,
the same thing that he had to have been dubbed because he's Welsh, and I'm like, there's no way that this fucker like can speak this Spanish. But I looked it up, and like apparently he said all his Spanish dialogue.
So apparently this wasn't the first time he played in Argentine.
I
in
didn't know
Evita,
that.
he was a general.
Oh, I don't even. I never saw Evita.
So apparently, I looked it up. I didn't.
I've never seen it.
Spoiler alert: Madonna wasn't Evita. It's historically inaccurate. But
Evita is all sung through. But Evita is all sung through.
Oh, sorry.
But the interactions between them, because you have the polar opposites of Anthony Hopkins as the German that Neri loved him. Neri absolutely loved him and told me all the time how he
The whole movie, I was like, you mother.
Yeah.
I hate Ratzinger. I hate Ratzinger. When they picked Ratzinger as Pope, I wanted Bergoglio to be Pope. Not that my opinion fucking matters, but I was like,
you're such a hipster Pope guy. She's such a fucking. I wanted Bergoglio. I was talking about Bergoglio before people knew about Bergoglio.
I wanted Bergoglio or the African guy.
Or I wanted the African guy just to have a black Pope. I'm like, I want a black Pope. Give me a black Pope. And then they were like, there might be a Hispanic guy. I'm like, fuck it, give me the Hispanic Pope. This is gonna be amazing, dude. But
so
I didn't know anything about their policies, but I was just like, Hispanic or
like,
black. Let's
like,
fuck
we
this white
can't-
shit.
but-
And then they're like, we're gonna go super white.
Yeah, but they were like,
Nazi white.
we can't have like a fucking Nazi, and it literally like a little actual like former Nazi, and he made. I didn't like there were.
So I hated Anthony Hopkins. So I'm watching the movie.
Do you hate Anthony Hopkins or you just hate Ratzinger?
No, I hate Ratzinger.
Okay.
But Anthony Hopkins played him so well.
Yeah. So bad.
Because I'm watching this movie, I'm like, I hate this motherfucker. I hate this motherfucker. And then I literally said, he goes, who? I go, the Nazi. And then he goes, oh, LOL, whatever. And I go, but I wasn't a fan of him, the actual Pope, like Ratzinger as the Pope. I wasn't a fan of his.
But I told you eventually you'll start.
I'm not a Catholic, by the way. Just to give a disclaimer, I'm not a Catholic, so I'm looking at it from the perspective of somebody as a human. When he gave license to fucking, he was very anti-divorce, he was very anti-gay, gay, just homophobic as fuck. And I remember I was old enough when Ratzinger was elected. I was old enough to be like, no, this is wrong. This is letting. And as a believer in Christ, not a Catholic, but as a believer in Christ, I felt like gave people who were not believers to point reason, and they gave him the like, hey, look, that's Christianity as a whole. Like I would always get clumped in with that shit where it'd be like, you're a believer in this, so you hate gays. Like, no, what the fuck? Like, hold on, no. Oh, look, the Pope. I'm like, wait a minute, how is this? So, and I was old enough then. I wasn't old enough for John Paul II. I mean, he was the Pope when I was a kid, but I didn't know any of his policies. I wasn't old enough to and that didn't affect me. It's not like when you're in third grade, the playground is like, so what do you think about what the Pope said about, like I don't wasn't. But Ratzinger, I was old enough to.
Well, yeah, you were, because John Paul II died in 2005. So.
Yeah, again, but 2005, I was literally 22 years old, like 22, 23, whatever the fuck I was.
So into the.
Yeah, I wasn't into like social, like, oh, what do you think about? Like, I was like, dude, there's a new video game out. The fucking Rock is gonna be the Rock is gonna be an actor. Did you hear that? Like, that's what I was thinking in 2000.
Yeah. Well, so
Ratzinger, I was really hating the character in the movie, and I was like,
I did not like those things about Ratzinger when he was Pope anyway, but a lot of the other things that Ratzinger did, which is when I was like more heavily involved in churches, like he went back to a bunch of like pre-Vatican II shit that hadn't been done in like 40, 50 years. So I was not a fan. That being said, I love this dude. This dude is the shit. This guy's awesome.
Like, I love the fact that I asked myself when he became Pope and he started doing all these things. I remember on this very podcast, we talked about the things. And I remember the Xander, my co-host at the time, you know, he's very outspoken as far as not being religious and forget about not being religious. He's an atheist, like he's that to the, and he said. I said, I love this new pope for this and this reason. He's like giving a voice to like, it's okay to be divorced and it's okay, whatever. And then he's like, oh, so you're just giving him credit for like, being not being a prick. I'm like, yeah, no, that's a big thing.
Yeah.
Like, that's a big fucking deal. Like he could very easily just be the same pope, just in a different outfit. And, but I loved it. I thought, I agree. So my point is to say,
Yeah.
But this movie, forget about the politics and the real life stories of it. To get back, and this is my fault for bringing up fucking.
Sorry.
But this movie is superb acting.
Yes.
One thing, superb acting.
So one thing that I love that I don't know if you guys caught it throughout, but like at the beginning when they're first going to vote for the new pope, they're in the bathroom and he's whistling Dancing Queen.
ABBA.
Throughout the movie, even when there's religious music being played, they throw in.
It's like scored in.
They throw in ABBA into it, so it's like it's something that stays throughout.
I watch it with subtitles, so the subtitle will tell you ABBA by Queen.
And it was just, I loved their interaction. I loved there was one line when they're in the garden when he's already pope and he invites him over to tell him he's going to be, you know, that he's going to step down. That he's like, you know, talking about like the old policies, and he's like, we didn't even have angels till the 5th century. Now all of a sudden they're everywhere, like pigeons. Such a great that conversation is great, and I love Ratzinger's response to that. He goes, "You have a response for everything." And then he's like, "You're very sure of yourself." I love his sense of humor. The fact that he's like, "How does an Argentinian commit suicide?" We climb to the top of our ego and jump off. And Ratzinger, being the German Nazi that he is, was like, "Oh, a joke." I'm like, fuck you, you motherfucker, dude. I was like,
later on in the movie where he says something, he says like he tells a joke and he's like, "It's a German joke. It doesn't have to be funny." And I was like, wow.
And then the best,
very Stephanie of you.
The best part about that to me was in the end, like the after credits. Like them that he literally, and apparently that he flew over to Germany so they could watch the World Cup together because it was Germany versus Argentina. And I just like my favorite shot is just him holding up the scarf of his,
my favorite line. I don't know. There's so many. The acting is so fucking good,
so many,
and they're so acting by everybody. Lines. By the actor, like the actor that played the young him.
Oh yeah,
fuck, dude, it's so good. Like you could see his pain in everything that he did. It was so phenomenal. It was beautiful, man. It was beautiful. I got choked up a few times. It was beautiful as a believer, as somebody. Again, I'm not Catholic. I just believe in the faith. I got choked up a couple times where, you know, like I put myself in that scenario where he was about to get married. He proposed marriage, and then he was like, "I got a sign," and I was like, "That's beautiful. This is a beautiful thing." And I just that line at the end when he does come up as Pope and they're asking him about the red shoes and blah blah, and he goes, "The carnival is over." I love that fucking line because it was like,
but he's always done that since he came into the business. He never put like the super fancy shit on. He never like he didn't want any of like the gold that they normally get, and like his cross is very simple. And he
named himself Francis,
right?
A girl's name.
What's so wow.
That's fine. I'm bashing fucking Ratzinger this whole fucking time. You're okay with that? I make one joke about it being a fucking girl's name.
Gesture when you're saying
yeah, fucking Nazi.
I also like that like this guy went on and like did his whole like very thick Argentinian Spanish accent, and then like Hopkins couldn't be bothered to even like attempt.
But he did attempt it. Like it would go in and out. Man, I noticed that. I was like, it would go in and out.
It would go in and out. How like Carrie Fisher's British accent goes in and out in the first fucking Star Wars.
Yeah, I get. Was she supposed to be British?
No, she's not.
Why is she doing a British accent?
Because
trick them. Oh wait, she's British. This isn't the right one.
But
this
anyway,
is not the droid you're looking for.
Just like Jimmy Smits is British, but in the prequels,
was he? Did he do a British accent?
He did.
That's hilarious.
He tries.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I was sold in the first like 20 minutes when they were going through the whole like conclave of cardinals, and they were going through the whole like, because growing up like going to Catholic school, like you learn about all that shit, and you have to like.
I learned about it from Eurotrip.
Same.
An educational film, I've heard.
But to actually,
But they do explain the conclave very well in Euro Trip. They do explain it very well.
So I always love seeing like the Swiss Guard. I think that they're super funny. Like I can't.
I love the fact that he brought it up. He was like, he looks very hot. He's
Yeah.
like, I thought he would change that. To be honest with you, as a new when he became Pope, I was hoping, and I didn't know this in real life.
We don't have to make them dress like court
Like,
jesters.
hey, can we not? Can we take the fucking helmet off? That seems ridiculous.
Yeah.
That seems like inappropriate. Like,
And I love how the guy
impractical.
helps him with his phone.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
like, but like even the stuff of like him picking up the phone to like make his own airline reservation, like nobody believes him, so he has to
Do you
go
have
and
the
buy it
Wi-Fi
online.
password?
Yeah. So, but seeing like the ins and outs of like the papal voting process, and that is super cool. I found myself getting like
That's
emotional at certain
very.
points.
I think that whole thing is so egotistical.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
that whole fucking thing is so egotistical about like you're gonna. It's like that popular. Like, have you ever done?
It is a popular.
It's so very much so. But have you ever been like I did Toastmasters when I worked at State Farm? I can say that because nobody here works at State Farm. So, when I worked at State Farm, I did Toastmasters, and at the end, like whenever you give a speech, you have to. It's the whole thing is to practice speech making, and not to say ums and ohs and stuff like that. And every time you give a speech, at the end of every meeting, they have a like we're gonna pick a who had the better speech this month or whatever. And it's very difficult to not vote for yourself. Like, I don't consider myself to be an egotistical person, but at the same time, I'm like, no, but I did believe I gave a better speech. Like, and I just felt that magnified times a billion because I'm watching the popes vote for the next pope. I'm like, the cardinals all vote for the next pope. I'm like, but this is the like,
But notice,
are you guys all should not be like, this is a weird thing though, right? Like, I love how Anthony Hopkins, Ratzinger said, like, he wanted it. Like they said about it, he wanted too much. Like, and it's true. Like it just felt like, but that's why you shouldn't. But you guys voted him in, though,
Right.
Like you guys all know this about him, right? Like it's not. Apparently, they all know that about Ratzinger. They all knew that Ratzinger wanted it too much. So why would you vote for him? Like it's not. It's a fucking very weird thing.
Politics are weird.
Yeah.
I did enjoy the fact that I loved the fact that in the they have this thing about his assistant getting in trouble, getting arrested, whatever, and then he says, "Oh, I'm sorry, you were so late." Hopkins, as Ratzinger says, "I'm sorry you're so late. My new assistant's a mess. My old assistant was perfect," and he goes, "And he's in jail now." That fucking immediate,
Yeah.
like, shut the fuck up. He was not perfect.
But
that whole thing was so.
he called him on a bunch of his shit.
I love that. I really want to know. Like, this is the one time where I was like, "Is this historically accurate?" Because please tell me that he called him out on his shit. Because I
read
would
up
love
about
this.
They apparently a lot of this when someone has audience with the Pope, they have to like track it, like they have to record it. So they like not record like voice record, but they have to like document it.
They have to document that the conversation took place, or what the conversation was about.
I'm not sure. I know that
if they wouldn't let them film in the Vatican, they're not going to let them.
yeah,
they're not going to give them that information,
right? But a lot of what was used in the film was stuff that had been published by the Vatican, so it's like official Vatican documentation. So I mean, you have to obviously fill in the blanks,
correct?
But that was also very impressive. They built, so they weren't allowed to film, like nothing is allowed to film in the Vatican. But so they basically did like.
I feel like that's not necessarily a bad thing in a sense, because much like what Ratzinger said, like there are people that spent their entire lives waiting to get in there.
Yeah.
Like for them to be told, "Oh, we're filming a movie.
Right.
You can't come in today." Like that would be pretty fucking shitty.
Yeah.
But they built a full scale replica
Right.
of the Sistine Chapel.
Right.
So, which is hard to fucking do because it's literally a piece of art.
Yeah, the original artist wasn't available.
Yeah. Something about being dead or whatever. But
Always an excuse.
this movie was so great.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Which one of the popes is more failed?
The new one is way uglier than both of them. Are really fucking ugly.
Yeah,
though.
but
Both of them are
but
fucking ugly.
That's my
Ratzinger's ugly
contribution to
inside.
this.
Yeah,
to this.
Ratzinger's ugly in his soul.
Yeah,
like he's
his soul is
his
ugly.
soul is also
He's
ugly.
fail on the inside.
Yeah. Here's the reason why this movie wasn't higher on my list. The rewatchability is very low.
You're right. I'm not
Like-
gonna. I'm not gonna watch this movie.
I would watch it again if like Missy or my wife are like, I want to
Right.
watch this movie. Okay, I'll sit down and watch it with you again. I'm never gonna like on my own. I don't know if I'll ever again. Maybe I will in a few years. I felt this way about the First Man, the Armstrong movie.
Armstrong.
I didn't remember how great that movie was until Facebook reminded me how much I raved about this movie last year. And I was like, yeah, and I was like, fuck, this movie is really good. Like I remember. So same thing with this. Tremendous acting, amazing story. Don't know if I'm really. That's why it's not higher on my list. But I do not fault anybody. Do not fault Jeff for having it in his number one because it is a. There are movies that you call great acting, and there are movies that I just call superb acting. You could not find somebody better, and I don't think. And that goes for everybody in this movie. Like Anthony Hopkins made me hate Anthony Hopkins. That's how much I fucking.
Also,
that's how good he was.
That's how good he was.
I know Anthony Hopkins es un viejo, but
By the way,
he
I
as
didn't-
fucked up as he like is.
What do you mean?
Like he's like he walks like he's fucked up.
I think he was portraying Ratzinger.
Yeah, right. But I,
he was doing
get
acting.
it. I get it. But like
An 88-year-old Pope.
I mean, but he's also like 80 something.
Yeah. I love them on so much.
Yeah. This
This
movie's great. I cannot say enough good things about this.
Just to tell you how much I don't like Ratzinger, and this is an observation that I'm just realizing, a realization that just came about right now as I'm speaking, is I don't Anthony Hopkins I loved in Silence of the Lambs, where he played a not only a serial killer, a cannibal serial killer, and I didn't hate Anthony Hopkins.
He's 82.
Yeah. So, but I hate him as Ratzinger. So that's how much I don't like Ratzinger. So, anyways, that's number one for Jeff, man. Great pick.
Thank you.
I'm gonna go. And my number one is pretty obvious. Is Joker. It has been my number one since I watched the movie. Since I saw the movie, it took Endgame out of the thing. I am everything that I could say about this movie. I've said a billion times. It is. Superb acting, superb directing. The cinematography is legitimately one of my favorite things about this movie.
Yeah.
To me, this is a perfect movie. It does no wrong. From everything, it at one point changed the origin story of a known and beloved character in DC Comics, and I was totally on board and go like, yeah, let's do
I'm
this
bowing
shit.
to your better judgment because I know you're the comic. I don't read a lot of comics. Wasn't it that Joker never had an actual origin story?
Joker to this day has never had
official.
not
I've asked
official.
Dave the
It's
same
always
thing.
been there's always been like whenever they give an origin story, it's never a certified origin story. It's always like a detective or somebody going like, there was a guy, like it's always
Got it.
It's very
It's always like a third party account.
yeah.
Nothing ever official.
Correct.
Right.
It's very much Nolan did it too. When Nolan did the Joker, it's like you remember there was like a long like, oh, we found him. It's blah 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 blah. He has, and it's all this, and then they go to the apartment and there's nothing there.
Right.
That's always been the case where it's like his quote unquote origin stories have never been concrete. There's never been anything that's been like we heard of a guy. It's always been whispers and rumors and like and what's the word I'm looking for? That phrase
Conjecture?
urban legends and
okay.
so like stuff like that. So nothing's been, but there's been Arthur Fletcher has been a character that has been a name that's been linked to his past, but there's nothing that says this is it. They always leave like a back door. They always leave like a door open. Like, is that real? Like they always do that shit. So I'm okay with all of it. At one point in the movie, spoiler alert if you haven't seen, at one point in the movie,
becomes a Joker.
at one point in the movie, they ask, what's his name? Not ask. We are the audience is led to believe that Arthur Fletcher, aka the Joker, is half brothers with Bruce Wayne.
Correct.
And we are led to believe that for a certain period of time throughout the movie, and I was all fucking about it. I was like, oh shit, which by the way, it ended up they changed it, but it ended up that would have changed the fucking foundation of what the comics have built for over 80 years. And I was still, as a fan, be like, I'm all about it. This sounds fucking, they're changing history and I'm all for it, dude. Let's do this shit. Again, they changed it. What I love about this, and I didn't get this until after I watched it the first time from reading interviews, is that they are questioning whether or not this movie even took place. The events of the movie, some people think that it was all in Arthur's head, that he was in the nut house the entire time.
And that's why that ending scene of him running.
Exactly. And then it's like, and then when she goes, what's so funny? He goes, oh, you wouldn't get it. There's a school of thought that thinks that everything we saw that's not him in the hospital is him in the hospital thinking of all those things. So he's thinking about the killings, he's thinking about it, but that didn't really happen. And when they asked the director this, he goes, that's for you to figure out. So he left it
That's
very.
a good
Normally
answer.
don't like things like that.
And that's what I was gonna say. I normally don't like that. I like little things that are tied up in a
Because
like
we've had this conversation about Inception.
I think, but here's the thing. I didn't get that feeling when I saw the movie the first time. So, and then when I read that, I was like, huh. And then when I saw it the second and third time in theaters, I was like, oh, I could see where this is a thing. But I'm totally okay because it fits the character. Like it's not a screenwriting trick that the director wants to do just for the sake of fucking doing it. It's because it fits the character. If it would fit the narrative of the Joker to have all this shit going on in his head. So I'm like, oh, that would be kind of cool. You know, and so, but I love everything about this fucking movie.
None of you.
No, so
I am slurping that Joaquin Phoenix dick the whole fucking year.
Something you mentioned with the two popes actually is how I feel about Joker. I don't think
that one of them's a crazy fucking killer.
Yes, one of them's a Nazi. I don't know if I'd ever rewatch it again.
Okay, well, I watched it 3 times in theater, so I answered that question for me.
But
you're right. Yeah,
it's not because it's a bad movie. It's not because it's phenomenal. The acting's amazing. Everything's great about it.
It's a lot.
It's a lot, and it's emotionally a draining movie.
Yeah, I can see that. I'm with you, dude.
It's not something that I'd be like, oh, I'm at home. Let me get some popcorn and get depressed again.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like,
if I may, I can see for some people, and I'm not putting you in this category. Right. I'm not saying you're not. I'm just. I think that it does touch on mental illness, and it does and it does touch on anxiety and depression, and I think I could see, again, not talking about you, I'm saying I can see somebody going like, I don't want to go through that journey again. My wife was one of those people where she says like, this was such a dark movie, I didn't, and she didn't know that it was going to be a dark movie. She thought it was just going to be a regular comic book movie, and I can see somebody going like, I don't want to get depressed again. Watching this movie makes me depressed. I could see that because I don't battle that. I could totally say it doesn't do anything to me.
You're not vested on that in that aspect.
But I could understand somebody feeling that way. I understand. I totally do. I'm one of those people. Look, Logan was one of the Logan to me. I would put Logan and Joker as 1A, 1B. I don't know which is which. As the greatest
I really like
comic book movies of all time. But I haven't, if I'm being honest, I haven't sat down and watched Logan since it came out in theaters. I saw Logan twice in theaters, but after that, I haven't watched it again because it's a lot. It's a big, it's a journey. It's fucking deep and dark and long. So you're right. I mean, you're not wrong. You know.
So that's actually the reason why it was my 3 and not 1, because even though I can salute it as like really, really good acting, and going back to what I said about Shia LaBeouf, like the range and just the presence of him like in the character, phenomenal. And it was my number 1 for a while, but I had to really be honest with myself and just like, in terms of watching it again, like what Jeff was saying, I'm more likely to watch Honey Boy again and than I am Joker. So I think that I actually really enjoyed that it explored the mental health thing. Yeah. That's not why I would not watch it again. I would watch it again, but not like go out of my way to watch it. I don't think I'd do it just because it's a really heavy movie.
Yeah, I get that.
But the mental health aspect, actually, I really kind of enjoyed it. Yeah. Because you get to...
Do you think it was a fair representation?
Absolutely. I think that people that... Because here's what I'll say is that not you, like I struggle with anxiety and depression, and I've had my bouts or whatever, and if you don't have anyone to relate to or talk to about these things, you don't know how bad, like the entire spectrum of mental illness, unless you have a point of reference. So even in my diagnosed anxiety, I've been told by medical professionals that like I'm on the lighter end of the spectrum. There are people who suffer immensely more because of it.
To your point, my favorite one of your stories is you've told me, and if you want me to cut this out, I'll cut this out, but you've told me my therapist is surprised I'm not more fucked up than I am.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's my favorite. I'm like, yeah. And then when you and I talk as friends, as personal friends, and you've told me intimate shit, I'm like, yeah, no, they're right. Yeah. she's doing really well for herself.
So, but what I really enjoyed about this is
it's the same internet, Maria.
What I really enjoy about this is that, traditionally, Joker is a character that he's a villain. You're supposed to, when Heath Ledger's Joker is that he's already on the deeper end of batshit crazy. No pun intended. I'm meeting Arthur here, and then at the end I see Joker, and Arthur, the human that's suffering, that is trying his fucking best and just cannot get his head above fucking water, is dealing with a system where he's going to see he's doing all the things you're supposed to do and try and get better, right? Taking your meds, going to see, but he even calls out the therapist. I love that scene when he's like, every week is the same shit. You ask me about my job, you ask me about my meds, and then you send me home. And it speaks to a larger conversation when it comes to mental health, that there are people who want to get better and just simply can't, because we, as a systemic construct, like, I hate to go this deep into it, but we just won't let them. We are not paying attention to them enough to fucking reach out and pull them up on above
which is
water.
what he says at the end when he says, what do you get when you have people and step all over you, and you get what you fucking deserve. And
his commitment, like when he finally gives in to, for the lack of a better word, like the crazy, I fucking love that. Like, he played that so fucking well. I watched this with Neri. I think this was the third time you had seen it. And the build up to it, I was on a mission, on a plight to take every Geek Bro member to the theater to watch this movie. Dave was like, I haven't seen it, I'll go with you. Missy's like, I haven't seen it, I'll go with you. She's like, but you've seen it twice already, I'll go with you. And I think my favorite, like, I had so many scenes that were phenomenal, but my favorite, because I think when we were done, you asked me, like, what was your favorite part? And my favorite part was when he's sitting on the couch of who he thinks is his girlfriend, and then he figures out the truth about that, and he's like, oh, like, he has that real, like, that knowing of, like, oh fuck, like, and I loved that entire, like, montage of what you saw through his eyes, and then what actually was happening.
Missy wanted to go to the bathroom in the scene where they're on their quote unquote date and they're watching the news, or they step by that store where they have the TVs or whatever, and then the girlfriend, the quote unquote girlfriend, says, oh, I'm happy he did that, I'm happy that happened, they got what they deserved or whatever. And she was like, oh, can I go to the bathroom? I'm like, not this scene, like, I need you to watch. And I didn't want to tell her, like, you need to watch this, because later on they're gonna do a callback and they're gonna show that she wasn't actually fucking there. You need to stay for this fucking scene. And then the next scene was when he fucking opens the letter and finds out that or thinks that he's Bruce Wayne's brother, and I was like, you can't leave during this scene. I'm like, hey, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to pee in the cup. I don't know what to tell you, man.
I didn't though. But at the I didn't. So at the very, very end, which I really love going to the movies with Neri, because it's an experience on top of the experience of watching the movie. But he's sitting next to me, and the buildup of the talk show appearance is going, and you could tell that you're going somewhere fucking dark. And even though you have an idea as a viewer, you don't, because of the big reveal.
Thank you.
What were you doing when you were you watching? You watched that fucking scene?
Throughout the movie, at one point in the movie, I had my sunglasses on, right? Because I don't know what to do with my sunglasses. I never want to put them when I go to the movie theater. Like, if I forget to take them off and leave them in the car, I hate putting them in my pocket, because I always feel that they're going to slip out and I'm going to leave them there, right? So I had my sunglasses on in the movie theater at one point, and she's like, why do you have your sunglasses on? And I'm like, I don't want you to see my eyes, whatever. But that was at one point, so where that scene is coming up, the fucking apex, and I have my sunglasses on, and I'm literally trying to look at her reaation, but through the I don't want to be that guy that goes, and like fucking stares right at her.
That's too much pressure.
Yeah, and so I'm just like, but I'm facing the screen, but my eyes are as far to my fucking left as humanly possible. I'm like, I want to see her reaction. Luckily, I have my eyesight blows, but luckily my peripheral is superb, so it's fucking amazing. So I was like, I had this whole, and she's like, her fucking reaction was gold, man.
I jumped.
It was like, yes.
And then he's like, exactly. Yeah. So, the only reason why it was my number one for a while, but again, I just, not because I doesn't bother me.
I'm okay. I love the fact that you're the Pope. To Jeffrey, I love the fact that the two popes is your number one. Because honestly, I thought Peanut Butter Falcon was going to be your number one, and I was like, I told Missy, I was like, he's going to put Peanut Butter Falcon as his number one, and not to say that Peanut Butter Falcon is not a good movie, but it's definitely not better than Joker. Now, again, you didn't even put Joker on your list, but my point is, like, I was like, okay, in my mind, I'm like, Joker got bumped off.
But I explained why Joker got bumped off.
It makes sense.
To me, Parasite is but I explained that it's like it's same variation.
Well, there's a lot of me that reason why I bumped Alita off is because I was like, I already have a science fiction action movie in Star Wars, and if I'm gonna pick between these two, I'm gonna pick Star Wars.
Right.
Like, so I made rationalizations. I made that rationalization. Again, not to say that Alita's not great. I'm just like, I already have an action sci-fi movie. Why do I don't need to. I'd rather have the fail popes.
So I really enjoyed it, and I would watch it again. I just don't think I would go out of my way to watch it, but still, I give it fucking props.
If it's on TV, I would watch it again. That's how I would do it. I would watch it again if it's like, if somebody's like, hey, I want to watch it. Okay, I'll watch it with you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get that. I totally get that.
But still, phenomenal acting.
So our number ones are Honey Boy, Rocket Man, The Fail Popes, and Joker. That's our number ones. This episode is 3 hours long.
No.
This episode, not
I was
including
looking at the time.
Still shorter than Irishman, which thank God nobody
thank
fucking
God you
put
didn't
that shit on there.
Irishman.
I would never
didn't
put
get around to watch
I watched it. I watched it in one sitting. I think it's a really good. I think it's a really good movie. I don't think it's near Scorsese's best. So why would I don't. Yeah, it's not. Children. Oh. Anyways, so thank you guys for checking us out. Make sure you check out Stephanie's event planning business at MiamiEventsByYou.com. That's MiamiEventsByYou, the letter U.com. Her Instagram at events_by_you. Again, this is all the letter U. So events_by_you. Check out Missy's writing at MissyWrites.com. And her Instagram or her other social media is
Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok is Missy the Writer.
Missy the Writer. So check that out. Or go to the Geek Bro pages, and then we have Geek Bro Cookie Mom at gmail.com for your Girl Scout cookie needs. We could be your pushers, man. So make sure you check us out, and our
boxes of cookies on the table.
and our Instagram everything is on geekbro.net, and check out my comedy at naryscience.com or whatwashisname.com. Thank you for staying this long. It's been way more entertaining than The Irishman, so there's that.
Yep. Nope.
No. What? Eh? What?
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 Missy farted?
Huh? Oh, dude, she totally peed in that fucking cup.
Yeah.
That was so fucked up, man.
A Missy in one cup.
I mean, I'm glad I didn't. It came off as a joke during the recording, but for real. Now
I'm
that
glad
we're recording.
now that we're on the air.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Hey, this is the What's Up Bro podcast. Hey, this is the What's Up Bro podcast. We talk about movies, TV, geek stuff, news, pop culture, and it's funny, motherfucker.